call this public meeting of the Eagle Mountain Saginaw Independent School District to order. Let the record show a quorum of board members are present and that this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. So we are going to go straight into our agenda. We don't have any individuals that want to address the board. But with the board's permission, I'd like to make one quick change in the interest of helping our friend who is here to present about our Premier Pathway program, because they're coming all the way from Stephenville. They were kind enough to come here. So we're going to move them first for our first report. So Dr. Fahey and his colleague.
Well, Dr. Tolbert, Dr. Hollingsworth, thank you so much for moving that time for us. I know it is a long drive, especially in traffic. First thing I want to do tonight, though, to talk about Premier Pathway is kind of just say thank you to the few people that helped put all this together. So first and foremost, Dr. Hollingsworth had a vision, and he came to us, and we were able to take that vision and run with a few ideas, but it required partnerships. And so, making a long story short, we talked to a few of our partners, but the partner that really stepped up to the plate to help our vision come true was Tarleton University. And this is Dr. Waddell. She is a provost over at Tarleton. She oversees the Tarleton Today program, and she has blessed us with being here tonight to represent Tarleton State University.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming. Also, I'd like to just say thank you to Mark Hard, Dana Eldridge, as well as my assistant, because they put a lot of work into this program, and we're super excited to be able to present it to you guys tonight. So without further ado.
Excuse me, just 1 minute. You can find it on page 101 of your board packet.
All right, so without further ado, I present to you Premier Pathway. And what is it? So Premier Pathway is a program that we've developed with Tarleton Today that is going to offer dual enrollment classes to students at EMS ISD that would start their freshman year and go all the way through their senior year. The completion of the course would give a student 45 hours, which meets the requirement in the state of Texas under Chapter 61 to classify a student as core complete. And a core complete status for a student means that anywhere in the state of Texas that student wants to go to school, as long as it's a public institution, they are guaranteed to be core complete at that university. So what that means, I know historically we've had conversations up here about kiddos taking AP classes or on-ramps classes or other dual credit classes, but the credits are not being accepted by the universities that they want to attend. This program ultimately will guarantee that as long as they get to that core complete status, those credits will transfer to a public institution. So we're incredibly excited about that. At your tables right now, you should see a mock Tarleton transcript. And Dr. Waddell was nice enough to put that together to where you could see if a kiddo went through the program as we have it outlined, that I'll show you here in a second, that would be what their transcript looks like. And at the very end of it, on the back side of the paper, you will see where it says core complete. It's the very last thing. So that ultimately is the transcript that a student would inherit. Now, we want to deploy this in 3 phases. It'll be a 3-year period that really rolls in with our current 8th graders that next year would be freshmen. The first course that a freshman would take would be Communications 1315, and that's a public speaking course. It's great for a freshman level class, but here's the great thing about Tarleton that I'll say. For them, they know it's a semester course at the college level, but being that this is a freshman level class, we're going to make it a year long. It does help with master schedule planning, but we're going to embed college readiness and study skills into that course as well to help prepare the kids better. The requirement to be in this pathway is going to be that a freshman student in that Comms 1315 also has to be in 2 of 4 advanced core classes. And there's a reason for that, because as they go up in level to their sophomore year, you're now going to end up taking 2 Tarleton Today courses. And then by your junior year, you're in 4, and senior year, you're in 4 if you're staying in this pathway. So we want to scaffold that educational piece and rigor for the kiddo, because jumping straight from a regular course into an advanced Tarleton Today course might be too much of a leap. It's better to kind of build it from freshman to sophomore to junior year. So the 2 other courses we're going to bring in next year, which would benefit our juniors for next year, is the Tarleton English and Tarleton U.S. History. We originally were going to do the rhetoric as well as the U.S. History with on-ramps. But you'll hear in a second, we're really going to kind of transfer into that Tarleton Today program so that our students end up with one transcript. That's incredibly important because one of the things, I know it's a question that's been asked of me already, well, what about the 3 courses we have with on-ramps? Why are we changing those to Tarleton Today? If kiddos were still taking the on-ramps classes and then everything else was a Tarleton class, then that student ends up with 2 transcripts, neither of which says core complete. So now you're in a scenario where I transfer those transcripts, you're not guaranteed the credit goes. And we're back in the situation we've been in, where the colleges pick and choose what they want. In this particular scenario, putting everything into the one transcript is what gets you that stamp on the back of what you see, and it locks it in. So that's one of those major reasons. The model and mode in which we teach it is exactly the same. It's our teachers. They go through training, they implement it in the classroom. At the end of the semester, the student has the option whether or not they want to post that credit on their transcript. That is a very safe bet compared to a dual credit class, let's say at TCC, where a student doesn't get the option. Whatever grade they get, they get. In a dual enrollment, like Tarleton Today, if on my college grade, it's too low and I don't want it to affect my GPA 4 years from now, I can say thanks, but no thanks. For high school kids, that's a good option, right?
So how would that, if they say thanks but no thanks, doesn't post, then it's
on the
then
transcript,
short of
it'll
the-
just show a T, which just means on the Tarleton side that they attempted the class, but it does not go against anything. It does not impact their GPA. It does nothing. So they still get high school credit, but would it knock them out of that 45? Yes, it would.
They don't get a grade for one of the courses, and then they could pick and choose.
Right.
Right. They would have to get every 45.
To meet that core complete status. But even if I got 42, and you'll see an example when we get to the English, where I have to get through 1301. It's a prereq to the others. If I don't finish the English pathway, I end up 12 credits short of that 45, and I only end up with 33. But that's still 33 college hours in the core courses, which still most of the public universities, talking to Dr. Waddell, are going to take those core classes.
So the only way that, so let's make sure that I understand that right. The only way that it is guaranteed is if they make all 45 hours, then it's guaranteed.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, it's, okay.
Yes, sir.
And it's only public? It's not private like
Correct.
TCU?
Yeah, like a Rice University, they can do whatever they want. Yep. Any other questions on that? Yes, ma'am.
So right now, the Texas core is 42 credits. You may have seen legislation. There is a bill that passed that we have to examine that. If they decide to make changes, it would go down. It will not increase past 42, but they think they might cut 6. We'll know that next summer. But either way, the plan that they have here would meet that core complete, even if there are changes in a year or 2.
Questions on that?
And they'll still get college credit if they don't go through all these in the same way they do today. So
Yes, ma'am.
So usually
Just lots
they do mostly still take it. They just might not take it towards a major or whatever. So a lot of times it ends up being an elective versus.
Because we offer Tarleton Today courses now, and it's at HCTC. So we've got our education classes at the HCTC level, as well as our ag science, vet med. Those are Tarleton Today. So those kiddos have Tarleton transcripts. It's just not exceeding all the way. Now, the other great thing about this, and we can talk about it with phase 2, because that would be in the second year, we would propose more classes for that next English level, as well as adding science courses, but that would be the year that the on-ramps would transfer in to being Tarleton Today. The nice thing about this is, and we can say from experience, kiddos take UT on-ramps classes, and then some of them want to go to UT. In a lot of cases, UT on-ramps does not take their own credits. Tarleton will take their credits no matter what. So that is another positive in this. Okay. So then phase 3 is the final phase, and if you look at the courses there, most of them you'll recognize as being senior level. And so that's where you get your economics, your government classes that a senior would be taking, but part of the core is taking Texas government. So that's an additional outside of the federal government, which is required for graduation. I want to give a lot of credit to Tarleton State University on this, because 45 days ago, when we looked at Tarleton Today's course offerings that we could bring in, they were 2 courses short of a district, any district in the state of Texas, being able to put in and classify a student as core complete. Those 2 courses were Texas Government and the Comms 1315. They didn't exist for Tarleton Today. They were at the university, just not Tarleton Today. That being said, within a matter of 2 weeks, Dr. Waddell, Shayla Hoffman went to the deans of those particular colleges, said, look, this is what we want to do. This is our partner. Can you make it happen? Within 14 days, they made it happen. That's incredible, especially at the speed a lot of the IHEs.
incredible.
That's incredible. So that's worth noting in all of that. So thank you. So right here is just kind of a mock-up of what a student could ultimately do. Note all the cores outside of Tarleton today. We did list the advanced classes, but I and Mark Hart have been going to middle school campuses, and we've been talking to students at middle school campuses, especially our PATHS 8th graders, because those kiddos are already in a program where they're having to take one advanced class while taking the college readiness PATHS course. So that is a group that we're saying, hey, continue on this path, get into comms 13, 15, and then just take 2 advanced freshman year. And then we'll grow the year after that. So this particular model, just know that a student doesn't have to take all 4 advanced courses their freshman year, it's just 2 of the 4. And then you see the asterisk at the bottom that would kind of dictate what they do their sophomore year, so on and so forth. I will tell you, this right here, whether it be a middle school student or the parents I've spoken to thus far, they are extremely excited about it. We're excited about it.
So this, I mean, this is darn near just like locked in. Here's what your schedule looks like for the next 4 years, potentially.
With the Tarleton piece, but as they develop more Tarleton courses, we get options. So like the science classes, even though on there it says chemistry and then bio 2401, which is anatomy, physiology, you could technically substitute the general animal science for one of those science classes. So I suspect as Tarleton continues to grow and as we continue to grow, we'll start getting to a point where we can offer options within that.
I did notice on here, like the sophomore year, the world history, that, I believe, unless I missed something, that's the only AP.
That's the only,
It
AP, just like with freshman
But
year,
it's
they could
required
do
to be an
human.
AP course. It would be required to be core complete for that to be an AP.
Not necessarily, because you only have to take one on top. So you could either do the advanced English or you could do the AP world.
Okay.
So that as a sophomore, you have a choice. You could do both if you wanted to, but at minimum, you're doing one in addition to your 2 Tarleton Todays.
Dr. Waddell, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, in addition to the things that we've done to be core complete, we're adding more CTE courses to help that CCMR score. So we will have 9 credits of business. Next year, we're also adding more agriculture classes, so we'll have agronomy next year. So we will have more electives if that is what your students choose, especially if you have some special pathways that they might be on.
Wouldn't just being part of this qualify them for that?
Yes, so from the
Yeah.
CCMR
Yeah.
perspective, by the time a kid gets done with their sophomore year, if they just did those first 3 credits, the math alone would make them CCMR med if they pass that 13, 14. Yes, ma'am,
That's even in with the beefed up CCMR requirements?
as of right now.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, as of
Yeah.
right now. They wouldn't move the target on us, would they, Dr. Bay?
That's a whole nother presentation. Yeah.
We don't have time for it.
So this slide was really to just try and condense some of the information, but here's the great part about the Tarleton Today program. If a student is classified as FAST eligible by House Bill 8, which ultimately means if a student is free and reduced lunch now or has been in the prior 4 years, then that student gets free tuition in the Tarleton Today program. Here then, they will not pay. But if a student did not qualify for that or currently is not free and reduced, then they would pay $50 per credit. Or per hour, I apologize. That being said, a course could be $150 if it's one of the math classes. It could be $300 if you're taking both semesters of English. Okay? If you look back at the chart, you can see English is 6 hours because it's 2 semesters worth. That being said, the total for the 45 hours is going to be $2,200. And I just happened to be at Tarleton today. We had a group of 100 kiddos at the Fort Worth campus doing a tour, and I was watching the presentation. They said currently right now, if you were to go to Tarleton, just 1 year at Tarleton, live on campus, room and board, meals, it's about $16,000. Getting 45 credits is about 3+ semesters under your belt and done for $2,200. That is huge, because the 2 major reasons why we know kids aren't staying in college is the money and the preparation. This addresses both of those. Okay. That being said, we kind of have things that we're looking to do to give those students accolades. Outside of being core complete, we're looking to see if we can get a cord for students walking across the stage to signify I am core complete at graduation. That's still down the road. We got 4 years to see that happen. I've also been in talks with Tarleton about possible other scholarships for kiddos that meet the core complete status. So that would be great. See, questions that commonly come up is what is core complete? I think I addressed it, unless you all need to hear me say that again. Who's eligible is obviously any student. The only requirement is the courses you take. That's the great thing about this. Any student can jump in, but you got to meet the conditions of what classes you take in addition to the Tarleton Today classes, okay, at that freshman and sophomore level. We talked about FAST, and then the other question, what about my current junior and senior? Can they go get core complete? The short answer, straight to the point, they don't have enough time. They don't have enough time, enough room in their schedule. However, they still will have access like they currently do to dual credit, to where they can jump into those classes junior and senior year if that's when they decide to get college credit. They just can't get the 45.
Is a core complete a unique term to the state of Texas?
I don't know how long has the law been there?
Is it? Yeah.
But it's not a unique term to the state of Texas, but our core and what those courses have to be are state specific.
So does somebody, I mean, does UTA offer it? I mean, is it unique to Tarleton in that they're offering it, or do other colleges have the same opportunities?
Any student in a university, so graduated high school in a university, once they finish their core, then their transcript there would say core complete. To my knowledge, there is not another dual enrollment, dual credit institution that's offering that.
So if I go to UTA and take it, I'm just taking it at the College of UTA, and what I'm guaranteed at the end of it is if I get core complete, those would also transfer to
Yes.
any other. Got it? Okay.
Yes,
got
sir.
it.
And so
My dad was a registrar at a college, so I have some background in trying to get classes transferred from one college to another. I know there's always a trick to it, it seems like.
And it's nice to know this is packaged, right? No matter where I go. And she mentioned at the end, and I want to highlight that too. Again, it goes to Dr. Hollingsworth's vision. There's not another district yet that's doing this, but I can tell you just in the last week, I was called by 6.
Sure.
And they've ranged from far east Texas to local that are saying, what are you doing? We're jumping on.
So then our next question, and maybe I think it's coming up in the presentation, is do we have teachers that are willing and able to meet the requirements?
Yes, sir.
And what do they get?
So the teachers in this, just like with the on-ramps teachers, they get their training. So they'll get their, anything outside of work hours, they'll get their hourly wages for that. But in terms of the ambition and the teachers I've already talked to, I did a couple of advanced academics nights a couple weeks ago. When they heard all about this, they're just saying, tell me what I got to do. Because they believe in it. I think that's when you have a group of teachers that are like, I see what this does for kids, and I can see myself being the teacher in that classroom, getting the kids to where they need to be. And on the back end, there's a professor that's partnered with that teacher, and they go through the proper training to be able to teach the courses. It's a win-win situation. I have a hard time trying to find a lot of negatives with it because I just don't. The difference with, let's say, partnering with TCC, they would require your teacher to have a master's degree plus 18 hours within that content that they're teaching. With the distance learning model that Tarleton's doing, it can just be a certified teacher partnered with their professor, and we can take some of the best talent we've got to put these courses forward.
And on your end, Tarleton provides counseling or some kind of lesson plan with this teacher, or how does that work?
Yes, sir. So we write the curriculum for both the high school and the college course. So we match our high school curriculum to the TEKS and have them step by step every week. We provide the high school curriculum to the high school teacher, and they're facilitating that. And then we are providing the college course from a distance with my college instructors that are on my payroll.
And do students have to apply to get into this class? Do you only want the biggest, brightest people, or no?
No, sir.
No,
So
sir.
and I'm glad you brought that up, because here's part of the vision in this, and when I had the conversations with middle school students, if they know already, I want to go to Stanford, I want to go to Yale. One of the things we're saying is, okay, now you've got to think about your transcript. So AP, that might be something you need to really think about. You are going to go on an AP track because you got to think about the kiddos you're competing against when you're applying to these colleges. So loading up on AP for the kiddos that want to go to an Ivy League school might be the best option for them. In particular, the group of kiddos we want in this are going to be the group of kids that are first-time college goers. It's the group of kids that thought maybe college wasn't an option because it's too darn expensive. And so we're not putting barriers. We're trying to eliminate it, but we want to make sure we're setting them up with success by asking them to do a little bit more than maybe they're used to. But
And if I may add, one of the things we want to do is we want to target between 75 and 100 freshmen at each of our 4 comprehensive high schools to make sure that it's not just, man, we hope they sign up for this, going out and asking our counselors to help us identify young people who will be successful in such a program, or think that the potential to be successful.
100%. And sometimes we know just the belief of a grown-up going to a kid saying, I know you can do it, is all they need. Understand too that TCC, right? We wanted to grow that dual credit, but the barrier with TCC is passing a TSIA, getting our scores to a point where the kid can even be accepted. Tarleton, they don't need that test to be in these classes. They want the kiddo to be in. They have that safety net with the option at the end to deny the college grade if it's not where they need it to be. But we don't have the barriers of that test to get in.
So building on that structure, we are committed to having these classes, even if the class size ends up being small, we're going to be committed to running
Yes, ma'am.
these classes for students, because I know we've had that problem on the AP side. Certain classes just don't make.
Yes, ma'am. And in all transparency, I suspect probably in January is when Mike Moraff's coming out because of the last legislation. They basically said he had to come up with a GPA system that all school districts are going to have to adhere to. And so with our district, that impacts the 10 to 5 point AP to dual
That's
credit.
going to be my next question.
So,
Is
yeah,
how
so we suspect even,
That we-
once that comes out and however he frames it, that's going to also cause probably a lot more kids to go more into the dual credit. It's a prediction there.
And then one more question on those juniors and seniors that are kind of be in the transition here. Will we still have offerings for them?
Yes, ma'am.
I wouldn't want to take
So-
anything away from them just because they weren't here in time to have.
And that's the
school.
beautiful part. So the 2 courses, the English and the U.S. history, we hadn't had before unless you went to TCC and you took it first and 8th period. By offering it through the Tarleton Today program next year, you're going to be able to have that class throughout the day without the TSIA barrier. So more of our juniors and seniors are going to access the dual enrollment than before. I think our numbers there are going to increase.
That's a
Have we
huge
gotten-
thing, that we've had to bookend a lot of our dual credit offerings at the beginning and end of the day, and being able to spread it out, that's going to help, that helps our numbers across
Absolutely.
the master schedule as well.
Because a lot of kids had to choose between athletics. And that's, I mean, I'll point it out when I go back to this. The beautiful part about this is that I can basically go and get 3 semesters worth of college under my belt, but still participate in sports, in band, and do the electives like art that I wanted to do, and choir, lots of choir.
Yeah.
Ron, lots of choir. And so you're not, all the options are still on the table for the kids.
Have we thought anything about even like a summer school program for those kids to bridge the gap?
Dr. Waddell and I
Might be
even
able to-
talked already about, and I know Tarleton's starting to get to a point where they're going to offer summer dual credit. The only difference with that is it is true dual credit, not dual enrollment. So in those particular courses, the grade the kid gets is the grade they get. But yes, they're already
But it
starting
could
to offer
qualify,
that.
so some of those kids could maybe get
Yes,
the
ma'am.
summer school route and still have that core complete.
Yes, ma'am.
As you look at this, I mean, it takes the place of on-ramps, and eventually it seems like this takes place of the current dual credit that we have as well, correct?
Depending, yeah, I mean, it really could.
But
I mean,
if this is dual credit,
Mhm.
getting dual credit, then, why would we have the dual credit where we just talked about the issues that we've had with it?
There are some dual credit courses I know that we have agreements with TCC, for example, at our HCTC.
Right.
That we would continue to nurture and have over time. I think there's
They're
still going to be a
benefiting.
place for us to continue our relationship there.
And there might be a cost
sir.
component
That's
too,
accurate.
right? Some of these might be more expensive than some of the
Could
ones
be.
that we do.
Yes, sir. And that even right now, we're enrolling kids for TCC dual credit, so it's not going to go away from that standpoint.
John, a motivated kid could potentially move toward that associate degree
Absolutely.
level of a 60 hours type thing.
Absolutely.
If she wanted to.
Becomes a lot easier with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot easier.
does Tarleton have the capacity for how many ever kids sign up for this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We have doubled in size every year since we started. And so we have job postings now. We are hiring for next year, so we're ready.
Okay.
Is there any kind of
You mentioned 15
evaluation
hours in
on
the advisor.
Tarleton's end as far as, I mean, you evaluate your professors and things like that. I mean, is there the accountability as far as how our teachers are teaching it? Obviously, we're holding them accountable, but is there anything from y'all's end as far as, you train them initially, but then making sure that they're teaching the way, you know, the things you want done, or.
Mentioned of working with the
Yeah, they're
professor.
paired with a professor, I guess you said?
Yes.
Like a mentor type?
Yes,
Okay.
so every teacher that is participating on your end would have one instructor. If there happens to be a lecture in a lab, they might have two instructors they're working with. They're going to be in contact pretty much daily, helping make sure that everything is working about the class, that, you know, grading, academic integrity, like we have all of those policies in place. Over the course of 3 years, we've had one issue with a teacher. And I'm blessed to be able to say that. And so I feel like school districts, you know, you guys are going to send us good ones. We're going to do summer training with them, some asynchronous, some in person on our campus. And then we do monthly trainings with them too, just to make sure that everyone is on the same page.
Are the numbers still, the first number is freshman, sophomore, junior, senior level, and then the second number is the number of hours?
That is correct.
So there's a math course with 4 hours in it, 24/12?
Pre-calculus, yes.
Pre-calc.
Yes, so it has a lecture and a lab. The lab's basically where you do your homework.
CPA notices.
Like, I was gonna ask, like, you get 6 on the Englishes, I guess that's the first half, second half?
Yeah, so
So
first
three and
semester,
three.
second semester on
Okay.
that. So some of those classes, like the math courses, could be done at
History.
a typical university in a semester, but level of difficulty, Tarleton says, hey, we're going to spread it out over the year, versus those English classes, no, we're going to go ahead and do, and that's what, right now, our kids are used to that. They're used to having 1301 in one semester, and then a 1302, 23, 26 second semester. So that's not abnormal at all. The only difference is that 1301 English is a prereq to all the other Englishes. So a student has to pass that to continue in those English classes. But again, that's true even at TCC.
I know.
So I know the only guarantee, it sounds like, is that public schools, we're talking mostly about state
Yes, sir.
public schools. If little Steve Newcomb completes this, is there a decent chance that Baylor takes 20 of these hours, or is that, I know you couldn't guarantee me that, but how is that?
Sure. Most of the privates in Texas are fairly reasonable, but they are not going to require a student to complete the Texas core. But Baylor, for example, they use the same course numbering system that most of the rest of us do. So it is pretty friendly for most of those institutions. We just can't guarantee that because that's not in
But there'd still be a
statute.
reason. If you know if you're a legacy, you're going to Baylor, there certainly
Sure.
could be financial and get you ready for college too, to do all this, right? Okay.
Do you happen to have anything that has tracked that to how well over time, your kids that have taken this, how well it's translated into all different universities, not just the public ones?
That's a great question. We track students that go elsewhere, but just where they went. We don't necessarily track how their credits transfer. I will say though that we have a staff advisor. So anytime a student acquires at least 15 hours while they're still in high school, the state of Texas now requires that they have a degree plan on file. And that means that then I have a staff that is watching the courses that they're taking. If they told us that they want to be an engineer, we're going to make sure that they're taking the right math class. We're going to make sure that they don't take duplicates of a course if they didn't need that for the degree that they intend to pursue. So that's another service that we offer.
And does Tarleton specifically as a college do anything, if you have gone through this program, is there any type of guaranteed acceptance into Tarleton or?
That's a great question. We're really close. I expect that definitely class of 27, because we're in the middle of class of 26 applications right now. By July, when class of 27 applications open or entering class 27, we should have some guaranteed admissions. As it is though, if the students are in the top half, they will be admitted, and then the tiers from there, either do they need to be reviewed or what scholarships do they qualify for?
Hey, how much teacher training, are you about to go, I don't know if you're going further into this.
Yep.
Oh, compared to on-ramps, they go down to Austin, is this, they going to Stephenville for the training, is that how this works?
So we offer a lot of trainings at our Chisholm Trail campus, especially for all of our Metroplex districts. We understand that that extra hour down the road might be inconvenient and you might have to pay for hotel rooms, things like that. So we do a significant number of trainings at Chisholm Trail and then other trainings at our Stephenville campus. It depends on the course subject. So we'll train all the English teachers in 1 week and we'll train all the math teachers in 1 week. So depending on when and where the teachers go will depend on their class.
And it's very, in terms of time, it's very similar to on-ramp.
Okay.
But I think Tarleton, for the veteran teachers, does a little bit better job because they require less time for the teachers that have already been teaching.
Right.
So that's nice.
I mean, Kudos to the work that's happened to do this. And I would say too, even as it translates to, the sort of the front lines as well. I mean, I just happened to have an 8th grade student who has come home telling me about this. I'm like, okay, tell me something about it. And he's like, oh, I think it's cool. It's exciting. I want to do it, like for a young man that's, 13 and trying to find his way to be excited about something like that. I think that to me is a litmus test of how you guys have presented it and the structure that it is. So
I think, the only thing I wanted to say that you guys started this off with public speaking. Thank you so much. That was when I saw that made me more excited than anything about it. It's just having the kids be able to do that and go through that. Cause I keep telling my college kid the same thing. You got to go take some public speaking.
absolutely.
So, Mr. Fahey, I know you gave credit to Dr. Hollingsworth for the vision of this, but I know you've put in an awful lot of work, you and your team, for doing this. It's obvious in the presentation, nothing stumped you so far. You've put a lot of work into this. I appreciate that. And seeing the kids today that got to get the presentation on the Tarleton-Fort Worth campus was really exciting. How many, is there a number yet on how many kids were accepted today?
Before we left, so we brought 100 kids in. Put it this way, Tarleton had 6,000 applications turned in the last 2 weeks, but because we went to campus today, they took the 13 kids that applied and we happen to have transcripts for them, and within about a 45-minute time frame, we got 3 of them already admitted into Tarleton.
That's awesome.
Kudos, Dr. Fahey, Dr. Eldridge, Mr. Hard, lots of really hard work that went into this. I really talked to Early College High School, and to their credit, they kind of pushed back and they said, hey, let's do this across all 4 of our comprehensive campuses. And I'm so proud of the result. And so really, thank y'all very much for your hard work, and really excited to see this come to fruition for our families. So,
Thank you.
Other questions? And I'm just going to echo the same thing, and it's exciting for us to be the first in the Metroplex to do this.
come on.
We're going to be the Mavericks for this, so that's an awesome thing. So thank you for hearing our vision and making it happen. So thank you, John, and your team, and Dr. Hollingsworth.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll go back to our original agenda. So thank y'all for that indulgence. So we're going to have the finance report. So our first one is the annual delinquent tax collection report. Mr. Rob Welch and Mr. Andrew Brink.
And with that, President Tolbert, Dr. Hollingsworth, members of the board, as mentioned, Mr. Brink has our annual collections report. I'm going to turn the mic over to him. Let you introduce your team.
I will.
Thank you.
Sure will.
Thank y'all for waiting.
Dr. Tolbert, Board of Trustees, Dr. Hollingsworth, it's an honor to be here tonight giving our annual collections report. This is truly a highlight of our year where we get to come talk about the excellent job that we're doing, hear about the excellent job that everyone here is doing. So it's truly an honor to be here tonight. Tonight I'm joined by 2 partners out of the Arlington office, Elizabeth Banda-Calvo and Charles Dayu. And so we are on slide 2 there, you can see some of the, that's the team we have for y'all. That is the team that really handles your accounts on a day-to-day basis. And there is just a relationship that's been going on since 1988 with the district. So we've been your delinquent tax collection firm for 37 years and going strong. So that's why I say it's a really special place to be, and it's a really great time to be here. So the next slide represents kind of the tax collection timeline. I know that I haven't had this pleasure to give this presentation to everybody, but wanted to give a little general introduction kind of to what we do. The most important thing you need to know about our services for the district is that they're completely free. You'll never receive a bill for delinquent tax collections from our firm. We are hired, and the fee to our firm is paid out of the taxpayers' delinquent collections. So we are a firm that you can partner with in full faith and look forward to that. This next slide is just a delinquent tax collection timeline, which kind of shows how things progress in the delinquent tax year from January 1 of a tax year all the way through the time when the Central Appraisal District has opportunities for review and appeal and all that. and to when they go delinquent on February 1st of the year following, and when they are turned over to our law firm to collect in April and July of the next year. So a little bit about what makes us special in y'all's own words is that we take great responsibility and great care of the taxpayers in the district. And we pride ourselves on being kind tax collectors. And one of the ways we showcase that is in our pre-litigation activities. The notes here on this slide show kind of the overall summary of what we've done in our office before we go to litigation, before we use the means of the law to collect what we need to collect for the district. These just show the many phone calls that we make, the letters that we send, the address changes that we do. We are a fair and compassionate collections firm, and we take great pride in being stewards of the district's taxpayers and of the district's taxpayers' dollars. We are a law firm, and we do launch litigation, but as you can see from the 7,000 phone calls to the 57 lawsuits, it's a big drop off there. We specialize in business personal property collections, federal bankruptcy collections. We do it all for your firm on the delinquent tax front, ensuring that those dollars go to the kids that deserve them the most. We're here tonight to give the annual report for the 2023 tax year. I know it's 2025, but things kind of go a little bit 16 months behind. So this was the original tax levy that was for your entire district, and it was $187 million. 99.18 was collected before it went delinquent, which means you have a tax base that pays on time, that likes living here, that likes owning property and pays for their taxes on time. So we're talking about 0.82%, which still amounts to $1.5 million. On July 1st of 2024, that is when the tax year was turned over to our law firm. And I'm proud to say that from July 1st of 2024 to June 30th of this year, we collected 81.93%, good for about $1.26 million. As you can see there, you went from 9 figures all the way down to $278,000 for that tax year. That's something that I know the three of us are very proud of, and we love presenting these numbers to y'all to show you what we're bringing to the district. We also have some preliminary numbers for this year, currently. And so your original tax levy went up a couple $1 million to 193. As you can see, the delinquent turnover was the exact same percentage at 0.82%. So the red and blue pie chart right there shows just how little we're dealing with. And in 3 months, I'm proud to say that we've collected over half that roll already. So, I mean, that just shows how quick we get after things with the business personal property. We're setting up payment arrangements. We're making calls. We're sending letters. We're treating people fairly and kindly, and we're seeing the results financially from the district for the district's bottom line. And that's really that makes me so happy. So this next slide is kind of an account breakdown chart that shows that most of the accounts are either in litigation, which means they're in active lawsuit, or they have a judgment against them, or we're trying to get them ready for it, which is making phone calls, sending letters, trying to get in touch with taxpayers, doing site visits that we do.
How much litigation would you say you collected? I think you had 74 lawsuits.
That's over the last 2.5 years, Steve, yeah.
Do those normally result in just judgments?
It depends. They normally do result in judgments. Probably about, what would you say, Elizabeth, half the time? So there's different kinds of judgments. There's the judgments against real property, and there's some against business. Real property, we're going to collect the real property. Businesses' judgments are a little bit more, they're harder to collect because businesses can go out of business in that 16-month period. But the judgments are good because they give the district the ability to foreclose if the taxpayer neglects it. So
against the property, it's a lien you file on our behalf.
the lien by law, the lien attaches to all property in Texas on January 1st of the tax year.
And then the business personal property tax, like you say, those go out of business. Did the legislature raise the minimum on that?
That's coming. There's a $125,000 exemption.
Okay.
That I believe it's passed.
It started September this year?
That's correct.
Okay, is this year? That'll clean up a lot of the smaller.
It will.
Little accounts.
It will.
Sure.
It'll kind of raise the bar a little bit on things. Any other questions before I head to the last slide? The last slide is what I like to highlight the most, which is our district's involvement. You know, I've been on the Education Foundation board for 2 years, and I'll be the chairman of the board next year. And I can't tell you how excited it makes me to work with y'all. And on a personal level, like it's just to see y'all become close friends and, you know, work with y'all. It's just a blessing in my life and for our firm's life. And I hope the district feels reciprocated in that too. We love collecting for you, and we're going to keep doing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions or comments?
You guys do an amazing job. I mean, this percentage is insane. It's really, really good. You'll do great work. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
I've told Andrew when I saw the report, like, okay, y'all are really working, but this is year after year after year. So we are really appreciative of what you guys do. And as important as the tax collection is, your involvement with our district, all the other things that you do that are so appreciative, sponsorships of things, and you're going to be the chairman of the board for the foundation. And so we're just really appreciative of our partnership.
I know
So,
you're-
thank you.
I know you're very disappointed you didn't get to play golf with Dr. Hollingsworth at the tournament because I know y'all.
He would have lost respect for me, so I'm glad that it stayed that way. So
Thank you for all your sponsorships, for your involvement, so much involvement in our district. So, and then the collections for us on our behalf is fabulous. So thank you again so much for all you do.
It's a blessing.
We appreciate you all.
thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Andrew. With the board's permission, I'm going to move under Finance Report 2 and 3 in the interest of time. So some people that will be here anyway, and some people that could take the chance of going home after this. So we'll move the budget status to the Series 2025A bond refunding opportunity. Mr. Welch?
Good evening again, and with board's permission, I'll pass the mic to Josh McLaughlin, our financial advisor with BOK Finance, to look at this great opportunity before us.
Thank you, Josh. Thought I'd give you a chance to maybe get to go home before 9.
He's got in the room right
Well, I
there.
appreciate it. Unfortunately, when I go home, I still have to work, so it happens. Well, good evening. I will be very brief tonight. Just before we get into this particular opportunity, I always like to highlight how you've managed your debt portfolio through bond refundings, which we'll talk about here in a minute, bond prepayments, using variable rate debt. The district has managed to save taxpayers over $146 million of interest cost over the last 20 years. So good active debt management. This will give you a look at your outstanding bonds as of today. Out of the roughly $4 billion, $1.23 billion is callable prior to final maturity. You'll see highlighted in orange there is your unlimited tax refunding bond series 2016. That has a call date of February 15th, 2026. Under tax law, starting 90 days beforehand, we can now refinance those again on a tax-exempt basis. That means after November 17th of this year, we have that opportunity, which we wanted to bring forward to you tonight. Currently, you have roughly $123.25 million of those bonds outstanding at an average interest rate of 4.21% based upon prevailing market conditions. You can refinance that at roughly 3.20%, so a full percentage point less. That would reduce the district's future interest costs by roughly $9.38 million. If you look at the table on the right, that's about $850,000 a year. On a present value basis, it's roughly 6% as a general rule of thumb. We start looking at refinancings when they're over 3%. After 5, it's time to pull the trigger. So with that, later on tonight, we'll ask you to adopt a parameters order, which will allow the administration to move forward with this opportunity subject to these parameters. These parameters are you would save a minimum of $6 million. We cannot refinance any more than this $123.25 million. The interest rate cannot exceed 3.6%. The final maturity cannot exceed August 15th, 2037. As a reminder, when we refinance, we do not extend your bond payments. We simply take your existing bond payments and move them to a lower interest rate. why we're trying to get this done, or we have under this authority 1 year to get this done. We're really trying to get this done in the next few weeks. We're hopeful in the next couple of weeks we have everything wrapped up, and then we can start monitoring the market. We only have one shot at this. We want to make sure the savings are what is reflective of what the district wants. So again, our goal is to try to get you as much savings as possible. That's why we're bringing this for you tonight. I know I went through that relatively quickly. What questions can I answer for you?
I have a question. If you go back to the bond schedule there, one more back. So looks like there's a possibility of other opportunities coming up if I take the same criteria and apply it to the future bonds. Is that how you see it also?
That is correct. Right now, you have another opportunity coming back August of this summer. We will probably be back here next May talking to you about it, assuming all things staying equal.
Assume the rate stays down where it is.
Exactly. And that's what we would foresee going into next year. Obviously, the Federal Reserve meets this week on Wednesday. We expect another quarter-point drop. We do expect 1 or 2 early next year. So that would lead to another opportunity next summer.
And the ones above that date that we have, let's say any date?
They are callable on any interest payment or callable on any date.
Yes, sir.
The reality is right now, some of those coupons aren't high enough for us to refinance at a lower interest rate and meet our savings thresholds. So we want to achieve at least a 3% PV savings, which is just standard practice. Right now, most of those coupons do not achieve those savings targets.
And then some of them are maturing, like one of them matures in 27. So.
Right, and that is your qualified school construction bond, which currently you get 95% paid for by the federal government. So it really doesn't make sense to refinance that one.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Don't work too hard when you get home.
We'll try not to.
Okay, well, sorry for the moving things about. Thanks for your patience. Okay, we'll go back now to our budget status with Mr. Welch.
Thank you for that adjustment on the schedule. So, just to let you know, I'll be brief with this. We are early in the budget year for the 2025-2026 school year. No major surprises at this point. However, we do want to report on the status of, the major drivers in our funding formula, which is going to be our enrollment in ADA. And just so that, just knowing that we budgeted off of a 300 student enrollment increase. I know our demographer has 410. We look at kind of across the year, what happens across the year, where he's looking at 1 point. And right now, based on the trends throughout the year, we're hitting above that 300 mark, so we're on target. And then the second piece of that is really, and we use that as an indicator to help predict what the ADA is, average daily attendance, because that's really what drives the actual funding model. And so our projection is 250 on ADA, and we're above that mark. And so based on 2 factors, one, just looking from year to year, without taking into effect the increase in the ADA attendance rate, which right now we're seeing at least a 0.5%, right? Like 0.6% increase over last year. That's about 100 students of ADA right there, which is about 1.3 million. So that's a great trend. We'll have more opportunities for that percentage to increase as we get into the spring, as far as net over prior year, just because spring has flu, it has other things, that there's just tends to be more absences that we can maybe curb and take advantage of and get that rate a little bit higher going into going into the spring and then averaging out for the end of the year. So right now, things are looking good. One of the things that we did see is our program enrollment is up, especially in the areas of our special programs and special services. So that prompts additional costs that we may need to address more students, more needs. And but with that, we have revenue increases on those specific allocations within the special program. So there's a budget amendment tonight that will, that reflects that. And it's about $959,000, both on the revenue and expenditure side. And Mr. Kittinger will walk you through the entire budget amendment here in a moment. So with that, I'll address any questions, but like I said, right now, we're early on and things are trending where they need to be.
Great. Questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll have Mr. Kittinger come up and talk to us about the budget amendment. That's on page 34 of your book.
Good evening, President Tolbert, Dr. Hollingsworth, members of the board. Present to you our first budget amendment for the 25-26 school year. Our first major adjustment is related to our special services. We're increasing both revenue and expenses. We had done in our upper tiers a growth estimate of between 2.5% and 4.5%, and we are far exceeding those numbers. So what we're recognizing here in the beginning is just enough to cover that growth right now. We're not recognizing the full change in ADA yet. The next expense that we're running through is for our rollover purchase orders. Those are items that we had ordered during last fiscal year and were back ordered, so they're being received this year. And the last piece that we're doing for an adjustment is related to our child nutrition. We had approved some cargo van purchases from them in the August board meeting, and so this is adding the budget to them for the 25-26 school year.
On the rollover purchase orders, are you reducing the expense for last year in the budget?
Yes, sir.
Will it be a budget amendment that?
Yes, sir. It's not accruals because it's all being received this year.
Okay.
Wonderful. Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Doug. We appreciate it. Okay, so that completes our finance reports. We'll go into operations reports. Mr. Welch and Mr. Lee.
Thank y'all. So the first thing that we have up tonight is just the update on Wayside Middle School. So both Hunter and I were out there talking about this morning. The pictures you see are 8 days old, but a lot of things have, it's just progressing inside the building. And if you drove by today, you also see a lot more of the landscaping coming into place. That's the aerial in the front with, you see a little bit of the darker dirt soil in there. That would be your landscaping. The windows in the front are installed. Just again, another picture showing the pictures, the storefront, the back courtyard, and you see an awning being installed. And on this, it's another landscaping. So closer to the road, you could see the sidewalk is being prepped. You see the water line for the irrigation. And on the far right, you can see where the vehicles are parked, but you can see the soil that's been laid down there. These are two pictures just showing the marquee that the rock work and brickwork masonry has been completed. This is more close up of the irrigation and sidewalk. The awning on the gym, which leads out to the bus loop, that's been put in place. And there's two pictures of that showing its completion and a little bit of work on the landscaping prep for that. So this is where it starts to look like the school. So you got the gym floors have been completed. You've got the bleachers in, wall pads. You see the lockers. Now in the locker room, you see that's protection to cover up the material down there so it doesn't get tore up. Same thing in the picture on the bottom where the main entrance is to the gym foyer. Half that is covered up. That's where the majority of people walk, so it protects the VCT. And then you have an interior picture on the top right of the coach's locker room. And you got all the built-ins, you got the carpet down, and I think probably all it needs at this point is when we get ready to install the TV screens, the monitors. And that's really one of the last things we do, just simply because of it gets more people out of the building when that occurs. It's just more finished work. Looking in the office, the main office, the carpet's covered up. You've got the choir room, band room, and some hallways. So they've already started the pre-punch on a lot of these items. And there's a picture of the kitchen with the kitchen equipment being installed. Again, painters, carpet. The gentleman walking down the hallway, you start to see the ceiling tiles, the lighting's in place. The framing for the classrooms are in place. Now, the flooring's not there yet, but that flooring and VCT go down. I mean, that's a 2-day job. Takes longer to wax it than it actually takes to put it down. The final coat, working in the media/library area. They're on their lifts, working up in those high reach areas. And then I just want to show you bathroom pictures, how they're going in. They got the tile in. Not all of them at this point had the fixtures in them, but they are progressing going to the south. Just some classrooms that you're looking at. So I just decided to go down the lower level, and you're going to see that more of you got the classroom paint. If you looked at it today, all the ceiling lighting's in, the marker boards are in. I mean, it's more of a completed look in all areas, and also has the built-in furniture in place. As you move up, they're going to be a little bit further behind than what you just saw. In fact, you see the stairwell, you see the ceiling tiles, the above stuff hadn't been completed at that point. Just showing you the terrazzo for those stairwells. They've grinded that down and it'll be ready to be installed, the storefronts. And yeah, you got the ceiling grids is up, the ceiling tiles are in, the lights are in at this point. You got the fixtures, and you've got a science workroom right there. And also, if you look at the top right, you see the science casework. It's been installed. And this is the further south of the building. They had a little lighting problem that day, but that's not the case today. And so the ceiling grid's finished, the lighting, the painting's in progress. So felt pretty good about how that's progressing right at this point. And so they'll continue with the casework. Hunter's got them coming in with the furniture, the desks, chairs, all that stuff, the tables. That'll happen December, right, first part of December. So it's scheduled, ready to happen.
Any big ticket things on order that's not here yet?
We ask that every day. So not as of yet.
Outstanding.
Well, the plan is to move in right after the break, correct? That's what we're.
During the break.
It's during.
I know. But if it's not, I mean, it's not like Wayside's going anywhere. So are we, I know we're planning on it being ready but we're not going to go ahead and rush it being ready if it's not ready, right? Right? I mean,
we've got some great confidence that it's going to be ready. What we're doing is we're utilizing a moving service. So essentially, the campus is going to be packing up their rooms. So actually, we're delivering those crates and those bookshelves tomorrow. So it'll be a three-day phase project where we'll move it into all the classrooms. And so the campus will be actively packing up their rooms. And so by the time that it's time to move everything over, which they're supposed to be done by December 19th, by that point, we use the term let's burn the boats. We're ready to go.
Yeah,
so
you're gonna be burning the
at that
boat.
point, we're committed to it.
we've never tried this, so I'm just a little.
No, and it's a challenge because if we don't hit that and we have to wait till spring break or something
Right.
like that, then we've missed our summer schedule.
Yep.
See, because we got to abate and start tearing things down
Right.
and put more road structures in, so we've got to hit it.
You talk about crates and stuff, that's being delivered to the current existing classrooms?
Yes, sir.
We've done that before. We did that at Boswell, I think.
Couple
I can't
times.
remember. Yeah, a few times. Where they deliver crates there and you pack up your own room and somebody else moves it from point A to point B. It's really, it's not chintzy equipment and it's not, I mean, they're really good dollies with stackable crates. It's their stuff, not, so you're putting stuff that's designed to be moved. It's pretty efficient when we've done it in the past.
Comfortable, I'm sure, especially in some of those small rooms, but it's what we got to do.
That's it. A few more. As you drove in this morning or this afternoon, you saw the Dick and Heidi Elkins agricultural science. So you've got Pogue is mobilized, and you see a lot of mounds of dirt and the shrub brush that's been moved out. There's building pads. Of course, they're wet today, so there wasn't much work today, but they are progressing on that project. So we're pleased with that. If there's any other questions, if not, I'll let Hunter go with the bond project update.
Any other questions?
I guess we'll still, I'm thinking about the Bryson Field. Does that, spring sports go over there too, or they don't? They will use that spring sport?
Still got a lot of work to do. Once getting in the building, phase one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that for the rest of the year. I just didn't, I know last year we took some to Boswell, and so I didn't know if that.
Is there a
was-
track? There's not a track. Is there some?
Perhaps for tennis, I think tennis went to.
No, they go to Boswell.
Track will go to Boss?
Track goes to Boswell.
Okay, anything else? Hunter, we have a lot to cover in our closed session.
Okay.
Can you, I want to give you plenty of time to show what
Whatever
you're
you want
doing.
me to do, I
Is that
can be
okay? And with the board's approval,
expedient.
can we cut it now and then
Or we
we'll,
can wait.
we'll start with you when we get back after opening,
Thank you.
opening session? Okay, so it is currently 6 PM on October 27th, 2025. The board will now recess for dinner and then reconvene in a closed meeting pursuant to the following sections of Texas Texas Open Meetings Act. Section 551.071 for the purpose of private consultation with the board's attorney. Section 551.072 for the purpose of deliberating on a purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Section 551.074 for the purpose of deliberating the appointment, employment, reassignment duties, dismissal, or discipline of a public employee. We're also going to be talking about the superintendent appraisal process and discussing the superintendent's goals. Section 551.076 for the purpose of deliberations regarding the deployment or specific occasions of implementation of security personnel or security audits. Section 551.082, deliberate in a case involving the discipline of a public school child. And Section 551.0821 to discuss specific personal identifying information about a student. Thank you. Education of the Eagle Mountain Saginaw Independent School District. The board is reconvening the public meeting on October 27th, 2025 at 7:16 PM. And we'll now consider the subject set forth in the posted agenda. My favorite part of the meeting is right now when we have our opening ceremony by Saginaw High School, Dr. Blanco and his group. So welcome everyone. We're glad you're here and welcome to Saginaw High School. So Mr. Blanco, Dr. Blanco, would you like to introduce your participants?
Absolutely. Board, thank you so much for allowing us to showcase some of our Saginaw High School students. EMS ISD leadership, thank you for being here. And all of our esteemed guests, thank you for being here as well. So I would like to start off our list of students. We have a all-star cast today. No stranger to board recognition. We start off with Sofiane Cortez. Sofiane is a 12th grader. She's with her parents, Kiko and Oswaldo Cortez, also her grandparents, and her swim coach, Coach Giles, is here with us as well. Sofiane is involved in swimming. She is the vice president of National Honor Society, a class officer, and she enjoys watching movies and TV shows. I also just found out that she holds every swim record on the girls' side at Saginaw High School, and I think she just beat her record.
I can personally attest to having witnessed her break some of those records. Girl can swim.
Next up, we have Sophia Petmenivong. She is in 10th grade, and her parents, Sue and Katrina Petmenivong, are here. Also, her art teacher, Mrs. Tara Croft. So Sophia had her art submitted to TAEA contest. Her art was selected to be showcased in that contest. Her interests include drawing, cooking, reading, and learning about history. Next up, we have Dristi Dahal. Dristi is an 11th grader at Saginaw High School. She is represented tonight by Mrs. Alexis Longprior, who is her debate and class president coach. She is in debate. She is the junior class president and hot off the press. Apparently, she is also our senior class president for next year. Students just completed voting and have selected Dristi to represent them once again.
Yay.
Next up, we've got Jazu Mesa. She is 11th grade student. She's represented by her parents, Amador and Jasmine Mesa, and Coach Giles as well. So also in swimming, debate, mock trial. She is in all AP classes at Saginaw High School. Her interests include boxing, volunteering with the younger children in church, holding a part-time job, and also she is the second student at Saginaw High School ever to enter the NASA aerospace program. Last but not least, our anchor, if you will, Aiden Torres. Aiden is an 11th grade student. He is with his parents here, Graciela Alvarez and Juan Torres. He is our cross-country team captain, and they just competed this past Saturday at regionals in Midlothian, that area. Sorry, Midland. Lubbock.
It's all close.
They were somewhere out west. I'm from Florida, y'all, so I'm still learning all these Texas cities. He enjoys being involved in cross-country and the track team. He's looking to pursue his career in the medical field in an athletic department and to help others achieve his goals.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now for the Texas pledge.
Honor
the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Now please join me for a moment of silence.
Good job.
Outstanding, Rough Riders. Thank you so much for all you do. And thank you, teachers, for coming to support, and of course, the parents as well. We appreciate you being here. Okay, our next, we have a special recognition from the Communications Department. Chief Ramirez, Police Officers of the Year and Administrators of the Year.
Yes. Madam President, Dr. Hollingsworth, members of the school board. It's my pleasure to be up here in front of you folks to present some outstanding work that was done last year. We recognize these individuals. If I can bring up the administrators. So I'd like to recognize the Safety Administrators of the Year. These individuals were selected for prioritizing safety initiatives, improving climate and culture by addressing safety concerns, ensuring all drills were completed as scheduled and with performance measures, and collaborate with the MSI Police Department to enhance school safety. I'd like to introduce Stacy Witt, Principal of Willow Creek Elementary. Dan Russell. Dan Russell, he's the principal at Ed Wilkie Middle School. And Assistant Principal Jennifer Thomas with Saginaw High School. So even though we had a lot of administrators that did a lot of great things, these individuals really stuck out and they were recognized, and we had actually our officers vote and other folks vote on that, and that's why you guys were selected.
Awesome.
So again, thank you so much for the hard work you did last year.
Yes, congratulations.
At this time, I'd like to recognize EMS officers. Come on up, guys. They dressed up for you guys, I'm telling you.
Look good.
So these following officers are recognized as EMSISD Police Officers of the Year for their exemplary performance as school-based law enforcement officers. Each officer showed professionalism, prioritized building positive relationships with members of the school community, and collaborated with school administrators to create and sustain a safe teaching and learning environment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see, I have Kayleen McDonald. She's an officer at Parkview Elementary. James Rhodes, Saginaw Elementary. Manuel Martinez, Watson. And last but not least, William Ray, Boswell High School. So again, these individuals were that's selected by not only their peers that voted on, but administrators as well. And so all of them just, did outstanding performance last year. Just wanted to recognize them, let them appreciate the hard work. Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all.
And so it's my honor to actually recognize the next gentleman. He's been here with the district quite a while. He's been with our police department once he decided he wanted to become a police officer again. And so he went through that. But Sergeant Jerome Scott is our supervisor of the year. And I just wanted to recognize him for everything he's done, not only to make our police department professional, but the work he does with our rapid response team, the work that he does with our honor guard, the work what he does with a lot of other things, including mentoring some kids at the Halfley Center. So again, he leads by example, and that's why he was selected as supervisor year for this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you for helping keep our campuses safe. We really, really, really appreciate it.
Hi, Dr. Tolbert.
Yes.
I have a very quick celebration that I would like to bring to the board tonight.
Okay.
So Dr. Tolbert, Dr. Hollingsworth, and members of the board, I would like to celebrate Ray Blanco tonight. As you guys have already met him again tonight as our Saginaw High School principal, he now has had a title change. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but he is now Dr. Ray Blanco. Woo-hoo! Yeah. We're so proud of him. He successfully defended his dissertation out at West Texas A&M a few weeks ago, and we're just super proud. I told him the other day, you're officially way, way smarter than me now, Ray. And so this guy, we're just, we love having him here. He's already brought so much to our community, and we are just excited about all of the positive things going on at Saginaw High School, and I couldn't let tonight go without just celebrating him real quick. So thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, if you were here for the wonderful opening ceremonies or all those recognitions, and you would like to take your selves home and do something else, you may certainly do that. You're welcome to stay through the boring reports and other things. However, if you would like to leave, this is a good time to make that exit.
Right.
Thank you for coming so much.
Guys.
Thanks so much. And we'll go back to our reports. We did not finish our reports from the 5 o'clock, so we stopped mid-report. And so thank you, Hunter, for being gracious and letting us break when we did.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go back to your report, the long-range facility plan. Well, no, we didn't finish the bond updates.
Right. President Tolbert, members of the board, Dr. Hollingsworth, really excited to kick off kind of a further update into our bond program. And to kick off this presentation, we'll talk about the highly anticipated Saginaw High School building addition and renovation. Again, attaching a couple pictures of the renderings of what this project is going to look like. And here in the middle, you can see all the areas that we're going to be impacting on this campus. The new field house addition, along with the scene shop, and then the ag facility that's going to be relocated to the building. So just a reminder, we have hired Poe Construction. We're currently going through some cost estimates of what the cost of the project is going to look like. Along with that, we're anticipating construction to start in the beginning of the year. We have to relocate some of our utilities. There is a transformer that's currently in the way that services the old field house that we have to relocate to keep that building up and running. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have Pogue put together a safety and logistics plan. We're going to then massage that plan as a district, get with Dr. Ray Blanco and get his approval of that plan, and then we'll put it before you so we can see kind of what we're looking at as far as safety, wayfinding, and how we're going to affect this campus. And then we'll come to Elementary 19. So a lot of good feedback from the city as far as giving us the green light to start in the spring of next year. So you'll be looking at me coming to you for the approval of the procurement method next month, and then we'll be looking at awarding a contractor early next year. So that is a spring of 2026 start and a fall of 2027 opening.
Where's that?
Can you explain that
Where is
picture?
that
Yeah,
from?
it's
Quite the
Huh?
drawing. The drawing is awesome.
I hope I'm
Looks like it's already built. So that is,
Why do we need an architect? Because that looks good.
so this is the community pond over in Cibolo, from the pier, taking a picture of our property that kind of sets itself over the pond. So it's a,
Who drew that? You know who drew it? It was like a
that is
6-7
VLK.
year old.
VLK drew that, yeah.
Okay.
Arion, yeah.
I might have fished there a time or two, so I thought that looked familiar.
Oh, that's funny.
And then we have the addition at Watson High School. So some of the specifics of this project, we were going to add 4 classrooms to the ADC side and then do an expansion on the cafeteria. The good news is we were able to utilize some existing real estate to expand the cafeteria. So that allowed us to make some further changes on campus to help out that facility. So we will be constructing that this June of 2026, and we'll be done in May of 2027. And then some further project updates. Saginaw Elementary, the district is continually collaborating with VLK on design concepts and how that design is going to fit within the site. We were expected construction to start in June of 27 with a June of 29 opening. And then Stephen G. Newcomb Middle School, again, estimated construction timeline is from April 2027 to June 2029. Some further progress on the water line construction project from the city. They've started phase 2. If you've been on Bonds Ranch, you can see some of the temporary roadways that they have installed to allow for the start of construction for that 54-inch water line. They have bid out phase 1, which is the portion from Boat Club to the water plant next to Dozier Elementary School. They have yet to award a contractor, but that has been concluded, so I'm sure they're working through their scoring, and then we'll bring that in a further meeting for approval. So with that being said, questions?
So that phase 2 they're doing now, then that'll just be in place, but they won't be able to connect it until that.
Correct. There was a lot less easements that they needed to get in order to start that, so they went ahead and proceeded with the phase 2 construction. So that's from Boat Club all the way up to the end of Bonds Ranch 287.
Thank you. I was going to ask why they start phase 2 first. But that's good.
And there's a lot more properties that they have to go over getting from Boat Club to the water plant. And so.
Have they given you an idea of the length of time for this construction?
I believe
For
when
phase 2?
they said when they issued a notice to proceed, I believe it was 500 calendar days. As far as phase 1, phase 2 will end in October of next year is when it's currently slated. Phase
So
1 was.
What's there now, roadways, and I mean, again, just for people listening too.
Schedule for the roadways.
The roadways and stuff will be as they are now for the next year.
As far as I know it, yes.
And then they'll start road construction after that, I know, which is positive.
It is.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Hunter, thank you, and thank you for letting us take a break and get other things done. Progress. Okay, Mr. Welsh, long-range facility planning update.
Good afternoon again. Just give you a quick update on our long-range facility planning. We did share this with our long-range facility committee at our recently last meeting. And just really highlighting, like we talked about the 23 bond, the 17 bond, but this is looking for the future when in 2030, we will have things that will start to enter that end of life cycle things. So we've got them written down here. You got things like mechanical systems, roofs, flooring, gym floors, field turfs, playgrounds, tracks, tennis courts, and marquees, and you can add fire alarm panels. You know, this list always keeps growing. So we just wanted to make you all aware of what we think's happening in the future, so no one really gets caught off guard on that. So when you go to the next page, you have a list. I think our whole packet, there's over 100 pages, but this is just the list of things that have hit the 2030 and 2031 school years. So we're already up, as an estimate, $51 million in potential expenses in the future. So that's 5 years out, 4.5 to 5 years out.
Are these the closest ones to this particular 2030? Is that the first one?
That's the first one.
You've got a list of every campus and every, because you're just showing us selected ones.
That's correct.
And so you've got them all in there.
Yeah,
And
all the
these
way
are
up
the
to-
most recent ones.
All the way up to, I think, 2075.
Okay.
Because you got some gym floors on that. So every campus has this, but these are just the ones specifically that would hit where we feel like end of life would be.
So we've either got to go M&O with them,
Correct.
put them in the budget, or go bond.
Correct.
Okay.
And some of those, the different propositions, well, this depends on how the bond will be worded. Some of these items will be separate propositions from the main Part A.
Like Saginaw High School, we're redoing that with the remodel, so would some of those fall off or not, like the turf room?
Well, Saginaw's like Boswell. It's built in phases, and so was Saginaw High School. So yes, we're doing the 23, some work on the mechanical because of the field house. So to answer your question, yes, but there are different systems because we built it over 4 years that we have to address. So
we might have to address some of them before you're saying the remodel is complete at Saginaw?
no. This will be in the future things that had a longer lifespan from when we put them in.
Okay.
But like the turf room, that'll go away, right? But it's on here.
Correct.
Yeah, because it'll be a new one.
That's correct.
Okay.
But just want to keep you on board, but kind of where, because we'll have, it's going to be a large number, but, not everything makes it. It goes through the committee and we figure out where exactly we evaluate it again, but just want to keep you in the loop.
So you could give us technically a budget to 2075 of large items needed?
Today's budget, yes.
In today's money. Good point. All right.
Is it fairly, starting in 2030, is it fairly evenly distributed or is it in big chunks? Like,
Well,
as you looked
the
at, 'cause
biggest
we just
chunk,
saw
if you
that
see
with
the
this.
first year, it has all that HVAC equipment.
Yeah.
When we built all those schools in 06 to 2010, that's what's hitting this in the future. It'll begin the geothermal process heavy on of that equipment. So, and HVAC's going to be more expensive than any of the floorings or anything we do like that.
Well, again, this is what makes us so good, our district so good, because you have this facility planning, keep up with it, and we appreciate what you and your team does for us, so.
Yeah, this is great. I'll say, Ron and I served on the facility planning committee for a few years, and having this is great in the way that they present this and, get it out, and Craig's been a part of that as well, to our facility planning committee to go, oh, so this is what it is, this is what it takes, and this is not just the next couple of years.
It's truly exceptional.
It is, and to have that organized and structured, and I mean, it's great.
Other questions, comments?
This report will come back to you next year with another year added.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Jones.
How to pay for it.
Here you are for our middle school zoning report.
Excuse me. Good evening, Madam President, trustees, and Dr. Hollingsworth. So yes, I am here to present tonight our proposed attendance zone changes for Wayside, Prairie Vista, and Highland Middle Schools. I'll be going over the presentation that was given at the 3 town hall meetings that we held over the last 2 weeks at all 3 middle schools. We had our first one at Prairie Vista, then we had Highland, and then we had one at Wayside. So we started off with just some background information. This is the agenda we'll follow. Some background information, just general knowledge about the district, but then the last 4 bullets, if you'll zero in on those, the last 4 bullets were more specific to why we were there and why we were discussing middle school zones. So we're looking at adding approximately 1,000 new middle school students over the next 10 years. Excuse me. We do have 2 more middle schools that are in our overall plan. The location for those 2, we have one in the Eagle Mountain High School zone, and then we have one in the Saginaw High School zone. This plan and going forward, whatever changes that are being proposed. It will not change the high school that you're already slated to attend. So if you were in a zone now and you're supposed to attend Eagle Mountain High School, even if this proposed plan goes through, you will still attend Eagle Mountain High School. So it won't impact that at all. And then lastly, on that slide, the Stephen G. Newcomb Middle School, we're working with the city of Fort Worth and then the developers on that, as you are well aware, that we're still working through that. That will be up in the Eagle Mountain High School zone, and we're working for that to be open in the fall of 2029.
I want to just stop there too. I mean, that's the biggest thing that's driving us doing one of the biggest things, right? Is that we had approved the middle school 7, Stephen G. Newcomb Middle School, and if the water line had been there like was anticipated, or we would have been able to, then we'd potentially been able to.
We would have had a couple of years where we would been over capacity.
Right.
Yeah, but it would have significantly helped the relief from Wayside, correct? We did building it sooner.
I think we would have still had to move at least 2 middle schools, probably about 3 to 9. But Highland, because of its underutilization, and Prairie Vista, where it would be, I think, after.
But we're still keeping the feeder patterns? Is that what you're saying earlier
Yes.
about, we're still going to have the true feeder patterns into the middle school to the high schools?
We're not 100% true feeder, but yes, I mean, as far as if you are currently zoned for whatever high school you're currently zoned for, even if these changes go through, middle school to high school will be, but that will not change.
I guess, and what we're saying is the high school zones aren't changing.
Correct.
Yes, sir, and that's something to make very clear. Even though we may be suggesting or that we would change where little Blake is going to middle school, it would not change where he is zoned to go to high school.
But it may change him moving to a school that would have fed into a different high school.
No.
No?
Because
Oh, yeah.
currently, we already
Well,
have,
Highland
for
does.
example, we already have Prairie Vista and Wayside are feeding into Eagle Mountain, for example.
Okay, so they are in the same high school that they would have been,
They're in the same high school, they just would have to move.
and they're in the same high school that they would be in from this new school.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and you'll see, there's a map later on, and it'll be a little bit more clear. You'll see what we're talking about. So the overall process and the timeline so we've been working on this for quite a while with Mr. Templeton, our demographer. And as I said a minute ago, we held 3 meetings over the last 2 weeks. And attendance for Prairie Vista, we had 32 residents, families attend that, or at least those that signed in. Highland, we had 1 participant or attendee, and then at Wayside, we had 25 people show up for that meeting. So residents can provide feedback, or they were able to give us feedback, and we had good discussions at those meetings. They can also provide feedback through emails, and they can also send messages through Let's Talk. So to date, we have received, specifically for this, we've received 12 emails, 14 Let's Talks, and then we had cards at the night of the meetings, just index cards that if they had a question or a concern, they could fill those out as well. And so we received about 9 of those over all 3 meetings. So the information that was gathered from those and then through the Let's Talks, you guys were on several of those emails and probably have read some of those. But some of the feedback, mostly just more questions about will there be, and it's really in follow-up to with Eagle Mountain High School, where we allowed some grade levels to remain at their current campus. That was a question that came up. Obviously, cheerleading and athletics, those were some questions that came up as far as will this decision be made prior to, and that is our goal as far as when cheerleader tryouts would be or whatever, that our goal is to have a decision made prior to that so that they'll be better informed. And then lastly, there was a fairly significant showing from residents of Cibolo Hills, and they each expressed interest both in at the meeting as well as several Let's Talks and emails expressing concern or just for the operations team, the superintendent, and the board, obviously, to review this again to see about whether or not they would be included in the move. So right now we've got it. Again, it'll show it later in the presentation. But right now we have Cibolo Hills, which currently attends Wayside. We have them in our proposed plan moving to Prairie Vista. Again, Cibolo Hills currently attends, they're scheduled to go to Eagle Mountain High School. Even moving to Prairie Vista, they would still attend Eagle Mountain High School. So you'll see that here in just a second. Tentatively, we have it scheduled to come back in November to present our final proposal to you for your consideration and possible approval. But if that needs to be, extended or to allow us some more time for further discussion or to massage it some, then we can certainly go to December if need be. So these are some of the considerations that we just went over in the meetings as far as why we're here and why we are considering this at this time. So again, this is something that's we've been going through for like the past 5 years minimum. As we work with Mr. Templeton, we try to go as far out as 10 years to see what we need to do and try and stay ahead of that demand. So this has been going on, and this proposal is just, again, it's just a continuation of us trying to get the middle schools into their proper feeder pattern following the opening of Eagle Mountain High School. The main objective for this one really is for Prairie Vista to balance the enrollment for Prairie Vista, Highland, and Wayside to their own buildings capacity. All three buildings are a little bit different. So Highland has a capacity of 1,050. Prairie Vista has a capacity of 1,000, and then current Wayside has a capacity of 1,000. The new Wayside has capacity of 1,200. So the main goal of this one is just to try and balance against their own capacities. Again, as I said, we work with Mr. Templeton as our demographer regularly, and as part of that, when we go through this process, part of the evaluation is we look at the neighborhoods. We look at each individual neighborhood, and to kind of work backwards, we look at what number we need to see. We need to try and get to X number, so we need to try and see about moving. We need to find 250 kids, let's say. So then we start looking at neighborhoods, and we try our best to try to get neighborhoods that are either adjacent to or that abut the attendance zone for which we're trying to move that student. We look at the neighborhood, and we look what the student yield is in that neighborhood. So if we, in a perfect world, if we needed 250 kids and we had 250 kids in one neighborhood, then really the process, that's what we would do. But that doesn't happen very often. So we have to get a little from here, until we get to that number. So it's kind of working backwards where I wanted to point that out just to make sure that people understand. That was some of the feedback from the meetings was more, I think, where I believe some people think that we look at a neighborhood, we see what the yield is for that, and then we just add it up in the end, and then that's what we move. And it's really not. We work backwards because we're trying to reach a number. So once we reach that number, then we stop looking at neighborhoods at that point. As Mr. Wells said earlier, so the Highland Middle School right now, if nothing were to change at all, there's not really, if you drive around in that area, there's not really a lot of new construction in that attendance zone. And so right now they're sitting as of, I believe last week, they're sitting right at 661 students. They have a capacity of 1,000. So if nothing were to change, there's really no new construction coming in to Highland for the next 5 to 7 years. So as a district, we're trying to be efficient and effective the way we use our space and our resources. So that's also part of this, is where we're balancing to that individual campus's capacity. So we're trying to move students over to raise their capacity because no new students, maybe not none, but very few new students will be coming from new construction.
And the houses aren't turning over like they used to either, because there's not enough new construction, obviously, to support any middle school, no matter where it is. The houses have to turn over, and the older parents have to move out, and the younger parents move in. Is that also not holding up in that area?
We're a little bit behind this year through 2 quarters as far as what the reports are on both closings and starts. As far as year over year, we're a little bit behind. But in the Highland area itself, there's really just not a whole lot of new construction that's in that attendance zone. There's a little bit to the north, but that's right now we have that for Prairie Vista. So as far as Highland itself, there's just not very much new construction going on.
What about the old construction? What about the houses that are already there? Are they just not turning over? I mean, you're talking about new construction, I understand that.
Yes.
If it's built out, there ain't never gonna be any more new construction.
Right.
So the houses that are existing in that attendance zone have to turn over, where you get more middle school kids and
sure,
the older parents move out.
I think all of that is behind a little bit right now. Hopefully, we'll see a little bit of improvement on that if interest rates do what is being projected. But as of right now, I think overall, just the housing market has slowed down some. The middle school designation form, this is basically what I alluded to earlier. So this has not been decided yet. We are still considering allowing certain grade levels to be, so to speak, grandfathered, where they can stay at their at their respective school. Again, this hasn't been decided. Once a decision is made, with your input and then further discussion with administration, then we'll put something out on the FAQ on our website. All this information, including this presentation, is on our website under the attendance zones. So if that's decided to whatever degree or whatever level, then that information will be sent out with instructions on how to facilitate that.
Well, of course, if you can do that, that's in the best interest, if we can leave a grade level there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that was one of the things that was brought up mostly, again, through the both in Let's Talk and then also at the meetings, at the Wayside meetings specifically from the Cibolo Hills parents were very interested in that.
A pretty common practice would be if little Marilyn is a current 7th grader, she's gone to Wayside, her 6th grade and her 7th grade. It's pretty common that you would not, move her. We're going to grandfather her and allow her to finish out her 3rd year. She's already gone to 2. And it'd be a little less common, though, to grandfather everybody. So little William's a 6th grader, and he's just gone that 1 year. He's going to have 2 years at his new middle school. That's more common to grandfather your 7th going into 8th, but not your 6th that's going to go into 7th, if that makes sense. Yeah.
What, has it been discussed? I'm sure it has. You've been doing it for 5 years. So all the way back to when Saginaw opened, and people that were zoned for Saginaw went to Saginaw, but there was the opportunity to request, there might be someone, because we needed to get more students at Saginaw and relieve some of the crowding at Boswell. To your point, Little Maryland if we were to say those 7th graders that are zoned, that are going to be caught up in the rezoning, some of those 7th graders might go, yeah, I'll go over there because my friends, my sister's over there, my friends are over there. And others might say, I'm going to stay here because I was in the choir and it's the greatest choir ever. Hear that? So
we always hear
always.
that.
So, you know what I'm saying? It was for
transfers, would that create some capacity for people?
Yes. Well, if we allowed the transfers for some of the 7th graders, would that allow a little more capacity instead of saying, well, the 7th graders are going to be grandfathered?
Oh, you wouldn't grandfather them unless they want to.
Yeah,
okay.
It'll be a choice.
Okay. So
You're saying it would, if you let some people move, if you accept it, or you open it up to say, hey, are there volunteers?
You're saying what? Yeah.
Are there volunteers who want to transfer so that somebody who doesn't could have their spot?
We could do that. I mean, we can do whatever we want to. That's not an uncommon practice, what you just
I was thinking more kind of but yeah, that's what we did back in the day.
But in Marilyn's case, she's gone as a 6th grader and as a 7th grader. If she wants to move, by all means, she can. Yeah.
She's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just filling out.
Go to your new, you're zoned there. So we moved your zone. You're now zoned.
Everybody wants Maryland.
So I'm moving.
So she wants to get away from the, whatever.
Okay.
Sure, we're going to have questions at the end of this thing.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
ask them to come. Let's
Yeah, we're
work
still
through
going to have
this.
questions and.
Yeah, do we have those numbers of the number, because I saw the total capacity, but I didn't see the numbers of kids that would transfer in here unless I just missed it.
I can, I've
You've
got
got it,
that
yeah,
for
okay.
you.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
And then lastly, sorry, on the, it's not really listed on here, but it is on the FAQ document. There's some questions. So as far as, there's also a sibling aspect to it too. If we end up going with the middle school designation form, again, that would be another decision that we would need to make as far as allowing siblings of those students. The way it was done, again, at Eagle Mountain High School, I'll use that one since it's the most recent. As long as there was a family member that was there was a student in high school and there was no break, then your siblings could also be included in that. So if you're a current 7th grader and you are going to choose to go because you'll be in 8th grade next year, a current 5th grader that's going to be in 6th grade, they would be in middle school together. So they actually, that sibling could also be included in that so that you're not having a family that's kind of split up. Now, if you have a break in that, the way we did it at Eagle Mountain High School, if you do have a break in that where there's no sibling or student in your household that's currently attending that school, then that designation expires or ends. So, but that's also not decided yet, but that's part of that whole discussion that we need to have on that. These are the subdivisions that are impacted from this, again, proposed move. The top 10 subdivisions in apartment complexes are moving from Prairie Vista to Highland, and then those bottom 3 are proposed to move from Wayside to Prairie Vista.
So the people that live right across from Highland that we made to go to Prairie Vista are now going to get their opportunity to go back to Highland.
Yes.
You had to be on the board a long time.
No, not, wait, not, if you're talking about Creek.
The people right across the street from Prairie Vista that.
No, that's correct.
We didn't want to move we didn't want to move in the first place.
Please say no.
That's my neighborhood. We still go.
Wait, no, he's talking, you're across from Prairie Vista?
Across from Highland.
Oh, from Highland, yeah, no, they're,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
yeah, they're,
We're moving again, we're moving subdivisions that are further away than the ones that live right across the street from Highland.
well, again, part of that is due to the yield that comes from it. So for the number of students, without carving up Creekwood, if you look at the entire neighborhood as a whole and you look at a heat map and you gather all those students, it's too many students. So it would actually overload Highland.
Dwayne, can you talk this map first, please? Because that, to me, creates the picture that
Sure.
really gives the.
Sure. So the top, in the light green on the top left, this is the proposed map. So this is the Wayside zone. On the northern part of the district in the pink, that's the Prairie Vista zone. And then the light blue to the east or on the right of your map is the Highland zone. So you can see pretty much the dividing line between the north-south divider between Prairie Vista and Highland is Bailey Ballsville Road. So again, Mr. Newcomb, while it would make sense, just looking at a map as far as proximity and trying to move, it's just when we look at it, unless you're going to go and say, use a particular street and kind of carve it up that way, we try to look into where we can move an entire neighborhood or an entire subdivision. And then again, so in the Prairie Vista area, you can see on the west side or the left side of your map, there's actually more on this map. It doesn't really show. There's more streets that are just below. Cibolo Hills is the one that is actually at the very top that abuts Bonds Ranch Road. But directly below that, there's a kind of a blank rectangle. That actually, there are some streets in there. That's actually the North Point subdivision that's gone in. And then to the west of that is actually like a second phase of North Point. So those are ones that are currently in Wayside zone, but that we are proposing to move to Prairie Vista.
Your proximity is what becomes a big issue. We really need another middle school up north in.
That would be.
That'd be a really good idea. Yeah.
If you'd move it and quit waiting on that dang water, you'd already have it built.
Exactly.
I have a few questions, comments. Is this the time?
Sure, absolutely.
We'll just start off with, I want to let everybody know that if we were to, whatever we do, it's not going to be a flippant, quick decision. We know this would, I don't use the word hate often. I would hate it if I was forced to go from Cibolo Hills across the tracks because of the traffic on east. It's terrible on east, Bailey Boswell, east.
Anything east-west.
Saginaw Boulevard. I mean, it's bad. My wife works over there. It's like almost unmanageable right now. So we're talking about, so would there be any alleviation we're doing, or are we just adding to that problem? I'm trying to think. Probably just adding to that problem, right? If, with this proposal? Yeah. Okay, so what are the other options? Could we put, if we had the money, that's always a problem. Can we put portables at Wayside? Is that a possibility? Could the building support it, the cafeteria, the hallways? Is that an option? And I realize that creates.
Bridge.
Yeah.
That's not ideal. It's never been ideal. We've been doing it ever since we started building schools. Like Hackett, it crosses 287. You know, it's not ideal. And maybe during the future, when you saw elementary 19, it may not be that way. But right now it is until we get to that final layout. And it's just hard trying to balance those classes or in classrooms and total overall capacity.
Well, and school, I get it. It's tough having a 1,200, I mean, and they're competing against each other too, not athletics, everything. 1,200 and 600, 1,300, that's tough. But for these families, so is that an option? Could we put portables at Wayside? The hallways are bigger, if we had to, could that work? Is that?
We could always put portables anywhere, for the most part, yes. But depending on what we feed back here, if you look at the numbers, I mean, the 1,200 for Wayside, you got to look at Wayside and you got to look at Prairie Vista. So basically, if Cibolo Hills doesn't go there, it puts more students on the loaded Wayside. So it's going to hit, until those students, however many, it's 7, 8, whatever we say stays, it's 2 years before they cycle out.
Right now.
The current ones. Now, if we leave them, you know, say the elementaries, if they move up, then that would change those numbers. So we would be getting closer to that 1,150 probably number.
Okay. So this what's on the screen right now. So that's just showing us what the potential plan, if this plan went through. I'd be curious, do we know, have we seen what the numbers are if we don't do that? I mean, it's going to be bad.
It depends on how long if we're going to say Cibolo, all that development stays up, everyone, wherever they're at, they stay, or you phase them out. I mean, there's two different thoughts.
Right.
If they all stay.
Or were they going?
Your question, that would be what would be in the last demographic report, because he wouldn't have controlled it for this.
Okay.
I don't remember
see
those
put it
numbers,
side
but you
by
can see
side
it.
just to see. Okay. Okay.
So you would propose then even your new North Point development, not send them to Prairie Vista either? You're saying just because of Business 287 and the train tracks, we would try to avoid sending anybody that's going back here. You would say anybody that's in the pink west of Business 287, you wouldn't send them.
Outside of the normal traffic, me being a former railroader, the train traffic there, it's not going away. And I'm worried, I was just talking to Ron a second ago, I'm worried about more of the bus delays, being late for class, that type of stuff. They can't go any way and route over. If we can find a way to route them, I guess, and take the flyover over, okay, maybe that alleviates it. But I'm concerned just with the amount of train traffic that's there and the amount of delays that could cause from buses trying to go left.
Yeah, I'm not.
And I agree with William, the traffic's bad, but I'm more worried about just the bus delay.
Well, yeah, the
Potential bus
trains
delays.
and traffic. I'm just considering that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not making any proposal. I haven't done enough research on this. I just know
Was
that's
that
gonna be-
historically, that's been part of your analysis too, is to look at bus routes and how you would get these people transported? Or not? So
Yes.
that was part of the
So,
analysis,
okay.
and can you
Yes.
go over that, please?
Overall traffic,
And,
yes,
and
bus for
keeping
sure.
keeping the high school pattern pure. Right, knowing where they're going to
No,
high school.
this would not, because Wayside would stay more split. If they go to Prairie Vista.
Yeah, I'm just
and they're
saying,
in
it
their
doesn't,
high
it
school
wouldn't
zone,
change their high school.
They would be going to high school with.
Correct.
But if they stay in Wayside, then
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It stays with, they stay at the same high school.
they stay in the same high school, but you're going to have Boswell and Eagle Mountain kids, students in
At
Wayside.
Right.
If Cibolo moves to Prairie Vista or North Point, they are moving to students.
Yes,
that are
higher
going to go
concentration
to
of
Eagle
students.
Mountain High School.
Right. And the extracurricular high school leadership that they have has they're coaching up the coaches and directors and the people over there at Prairie Vista because that's one of Eagle Mountain's schools. Whereas Wayside is Boswell's.
So wait, what I'm asking, so if they decided to stay at Wayside, then they could go to they'd go to Eagle Mountain at the end, or they'd have to go to Boss?
Depends on where they live.
That's what I'm, yeah, so it's not an automatic, right?
Your kids in Cibolo Hills are zoned currently for Eagle Mountain. And so if you leave them at Wayside, yes, ma'am, they will go to Wayside and then they will go to Eagle
They'll
Mountain.
still go to Eagle Mountain, okay.
That's what Cleet was, his
Because
point
Wayside
was.
isn't,
I was
cle-
making
isn't
sure,
clean
yeah.
today. So
Correct.
that's not anything you're changing. That's
Right.
how Wayside is
Just making
split
sure.
today because we're
Currently
not
split.
built out.
Yes, ma'am.
And so some of our middle schools are going to have to split until
Yes.
they're all
They're all
done.
going to have to split because we don't have middle school
Room.
7.
Right.
7
Or 8.
Or 8.
All right.
But if we just build 7 big enough, we won't need 8.
Are we going to add on to height?
Do that.
I mean,
Clearly, just so the board is, and we'll have more discussion, obviously, because we're not making a decision tonight. But if you move Cibolo Hills or if you leave Cibolo Hills in the Wayside attendance zone, that's one factor. If you put North Point and all of the growth that's going to happen in North Point, and you keep them in the Wayside attendance zone, then I definitely think you get into a situation where Mr. Bose is talking about, where you're going to have portables at our brand-new middle school. I mean, those are some of the tough decisions that
Oh,
we're
you just leave up the old one.
FMA. Sorry. Yeah, that's a grand idea.
I would be curious to see that, because it's not, I mean, and this is one piece of it, that's the Cibolo Hills piece, but I would be curious to see these neighborhoods, the number of kids you're moving.
Yes.
You did that,
Yes.
you have it, we just haven't seen it, I just would be
Yeah,
curious.
that would be interesting, yeah.
So
By
can I-
neighborhood,
what you do by
from here
neighborhood, then
to
you
the
look at
here.
that projection of those numbers, and you can quickly start to add or subtract.
Right.
Because you're moving 3, it's three deals.
So in the pink there, the proposed Prairie Vista, west of the 287, the railroad tracks. I see Cibolo Hills there. The other blank pinks, that's just future development? There's no neighborhoods there.
No, that's North Point. So that's already heavily developed. This map is just,
It's just,
is out of
deceptive
date.
on
And
that.
then
It's
where there's a line and then a little bit of a jutting out to the west,
So
that's
to
actually.
Paige's
second.
point, it's a significant number.
Yes.
of kids.
I think, that's why I kind of
it'll-
wanted to see.
Like to know
it,
the
'cause
numbers,
That's
yeah.
what I think, but we haven't
Yes.
seen it.
And that's easy to do. I mean, I can pull the reports there's only 3 it's basically Cibolo Hills, North Point, and then North Fork Estates. So I can pull and send that to you in a board update as far as
That'd be great.
the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Thank
I'm not
you.
saying that we shouldn't do it. I think we got to think long and hard. I think it's going to put a significant burden on some of these families, like big time. But now I get the portable thing. That sounds like a terrible idea. I know, because we'd have to spend money. That's money we wouldn't be spending if we're putting them in a school where we have places to put them, right? I mean, that would be, so yeah, that's probably not a great option. Other point is, I'd have a real hard time taking 7th graders and making them. I know we'll talk about that. That seems tough. Or splitting families, right? That just seems like that would be pretty extreme. 6th graders, they're not in athletics or fine arts as much right at that point. It'd just be tough to take people off teams or split families, so that's
Is
it.
that in your recommendation today, to allow at least, you
No,
haven't,
that's
you
just a
haven't made,
report.
when you presented, you were silent on those subjects because I didn't attend one of the sessions because we didn't want to quorum there, but.
Well, I will tell you, I have a bias toward what I described to you. I have a bias toward at least your 7th graders, their current 7th graders being grandfathered, because again, they've spent 2 years at a 3-year school. I think that's best for kids.
Agree.
Good feedback. Thank you all very much. Thanks, Wayne.
Anything else, my friends?
Yeah, if you're going to move them, you're going to move them again with middle school 7s. So let's
Yeah,
make
you're
sure
right.
we're not moving
Yeah.
them, moving
It just
them,
depends
moving
on how
them.
many new homes are up in that northern quadrant, and the interest rates.
On how many you're going to have to move again?
Yeah, because, okay, so say we decide 287, they're going to go to middle school 7. Well, once that all bills out, it's going to be a rubber band effect sometime. Because you're going to run out of space. If Prairie Vista and Newcomb Middle School are the pure feeders.
Right.
Because you got to balance those numbers. You got 1,600 middle school kids, there's 800 apiece.
Is that what the long-range plan has, was Prairie Vista and middle school, Newcomb Middle School being?
Currently, as it is,
Eagle
yes.
Mountain. And then, and Prairie Vista now is Boswell?
Prairie Vista's
Eagle Mountain High
Eagle
School.
Mountain.
Eagle Mountain.
Boswell has Creekview.
Before Eagle Mountain High School was built, where did Prairie Vista kids go?
Saginaw.
Saginaw. So now the only one left for Saginaw is Highland. And that's where 8 would go,
Yes.
theoretically, is down in that area. So that would be the 2 middle schools feeding Saginaw High School.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Did we ever have any consideration before Cibolo Hills was developed, to put them at Prairie Vista so that they wouldn't have to move? I mean, could we potentially have that forethought?
Well, you've got North Point and you've got Cibolo. And you've got Hatley Elementary and you've got Prairie Vista. So yes, we thought about all that. But to say both of them would go, I don't know. Those are big developments. Yes. And so we haven't, you look at it, it doesn't mean you make a decision.
Y'all work puzzles well, don't you?
Not everybody likes the pieces. Because it is a challenge, because everything y'all said, you've got families, with all my kids.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy deal.
But this was driven by moving the fewest kids and trying to preserve the high school piece and with operational considerations in terms of bus routes and efficiency in mind?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of criteria that we start with, and then we start our process trying to meet all of those things. So it's definitely not a, whoever said it, a flippant process at all. This is something that we work quite a bit I spent a lot of time on, just us, and then also with Mr. Templeton. So trying to do what's best for really all students, obviously, but we take all those factors into traffic, buses, all those things or whatever, but.
Pure feeders.
Yeah.
And that's right.
But ultimately, we know that to be able to make everyone, quote, happy is going to be
Impossible.
difficult.
Or are you going to come back with us with heat maps, what Paige said, or?
I can either do
I
it
would
next
love
month,
to see
or
that,
I can send them out in a board update. I mean,
The board update, I think we'd all want to know that
If you
information.
have transportation routes, I'd like to see that too. Bus routes, what you had talked about before. Just
Okay.
if you have them, I don't need every street, but just the main routes of how you're going to gather them all and get them over the other side.
Okay.
Is there a way to get them back to the bridge to go over, I guess is my.
Yeah, they'd have to go.
there is. They'd have to
Right.
come
They have to go down Old
down
Decatur, right?
287 Old Decatur and across, which would be the same for North Point and North
Or
Fork.
go across up north, come back down.
If you're driving a bus, that's preferable. I'd go Old Decatur over the thing rather than try to, it's really not that far out of the way.
Do we have a route that goes that way today? I
I'm sorry?
saw the other day, and we don't have a bus that
It goes
that way?
from Old
We do?
Decatur,
Don't we?
south on Old Decatur, to Bailey Boswell, and then over the bridge.
No, the other way.
No.
There's not.
Hatley, probably.
We'll bring that to you.
Yeah, if you can
Okay.
get that
Thank
information
you.
to us, I think we all want.
Sure.
Yeah,
we
we
can do
still
that.
have lots, I think there's still lots of questions and lots of things that need, but thank you for the
Thanks,
work that
Dwayne.
you've done
No,
so far.
absolutely.
And if you'll continue
Not
to
easy.
keep us updated on the comments and emails, and I know we've gotten several, and so
Thank y'all.
we hear and we're listening, and so thank you, Dwayne, for your
Will
hard
do.
work and your teams.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our operations report. So now we'll move into education services. And our first report is that's actually our second because we had one already. Dr. Behringer on the balanced scorecard update.
Bless you. Thank you, my friend.
Oh, looks like
I have a motley
Behringer
crew.
and team.
Wow.
And then there for moral support, or?
Got a lot of people behind
Yeah,
you.
you got a lot of people who just moved up to the front row.
It does
does
take a village. And I'm pretty shy, Mr. Newcomb, so
Okay.
I need that moral support. Madam President, Dr. Hollingsworth, members of the board, I'm super excited to be able to present our first balanced scorecard update to you all. As we continue the process for building our cadence of accountability, we want to make sure that the information that we're bringing to the board is quantitative. Because one of the pieces, one of the conversations that we've had over time is when we're looking at our strategic plan, oftentimes we have questions, what does that mean? And that can be a number of things, but then also when we look at how we are performing academically, some of the questions that we have been asked are, how did we not see that coming? And so the goal for the balanced scorecard is for us to be able to bring quantitative data to you all. And as we are having conversations monthly, looking at specifically priority one, and I'll get into it here in a second, we want to make sure that we're extending that same conversation, that cadence of accountability to our campus administration. So again, I am excited to be able to have that conversation with you all tonight for the first time. Looking at that first slide there, you see that these are the 4 priorities. If you look at the yellow, blue, I'm gonna call that salmon, and then green. Those represent the 4 priorities that you approved, and then the strategic objectives you see there on the left, and then their tagline, if you will. Monthly, I will come to you to provide you an update on strategic objectives. What we try to do is give you a draft of what that can look like. So every month we will talk about priority 1. It's the reason that we are in business, to ensure that we're giving our kids an opportunity to be academically successful. So we'll talk about priority 1 every single month. And then we'll also try to tie in or tie to priority 1 a different strategic objective from a different priority throughout the year. Just to give you an idea, we try to look at the different reports that we provide either through the Friday update or in our routine reports in the board meeting monthly, and try to marry that to our balanced scorecard. So tonight's presentation, we're going to look at all of priority 1. Specifically 1.1 through 1.5, and then we're going to look at priority 4, again, specifically 4.2, and look at some of the work that has been done and suggestions that have been made by our FIT committee. So getting started with our first, and we're looking at our lead measures. The key action, the first one there, implement and monitor systematic processes to ensure implementation of curriculum. In short, you see the number of instructional walks, and those are instructional fidelity walks. As you are aware, we have new curriculum for our K through 8th grade reading and math, and we want to make sure that we are implementing that curriculum with fidelity. Part of that is ensuring that we're getting in classrooms, and then we're giving and providing feedback to teachers as well. The next one there is pre-kindergarten circle, progress monitoring, beginning of the year on track. In 2024, early literacy, English was at 80%. And then again, in 2025, 80%. Spanish, and that is, so you all know, that is the automaticity, right? That is letter sounds for our students. And then Spanish, 70%, and then this year, it's 95%, mathematics, 84 to 85%.
Those goals are those which are actually, you said results, are those measured results?
Those are measured results, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Those are not those are not goals. These are all results that you will see tonight.
You're giving us the results of
yes, sir.
measurement. Okay.
Very, very good question. One thing that I should share with you all as we're looking at information tonight. So we're looking at Circle for Pre-K. We'll look at M-Class K2, and then we'll look at MAP for 1-8, and then DCAs for high school. Each month, when I come to you and I provide data to you for specifically priority 1, it will be different up-to-date data. So since we only take MAP, I'll use MAP for example. Since we take MAP beginning of year, mid-year, and end of year, you won't get that information or you won't get that data every year. What I'm going to try to bring to you is most recent data. Okay, so I just wanted to give you that plug. Kinder through 2nd grade M-Class, beginning of the year, at or above benchmark. So English, 55% in 2024, and then Spanish, 86%. And then 2025, 49%, and then Spanish was 80%. Second through fifth grade MAP reading achievement, beginning of the year average to above average achievement. This is 2024, 63%, and that is the percent of students who are at or above the 40th percentile versus their peers from around the nation. So any of the achievement data that you're going to see, that's what it's measuring. That they are at or above the 40th percentile versus their peers from around the nation. That is a norm referenced assessment.
Dr. Behringer, most of these beginning of year assessments were taken when?
So that's a piece that we'll talk about just a little bit. For middle school specifically, on I believe the next slide, we saw a little bit of a dip, and it was taken the second week of school. And I think specifically with math. And when you look at the previous year's achievement, it was taken, I want to say 6 weeks into school or so in mid-September, where we had some instruction, but then we took the MAP assessment.
But generally speaking, you want to do this in the first 2 to 3 weeks.
You want to
of
take it pretty
school
early,
to
yes,
get
sir.
a B or
Yes, sir, to get that
Y
benchmark.
reading, right?
Correct. So K-5 MAP, math achievement.
So the others, that might have been because of when we started last year, but there will be similar year points going forward, right? Like, so the middle of the year will be,
Yes,
if they're going to be in January, they're always going to be in January, and they're always going to be, okay.
To your point, we're trying to
This is
force.
apples and oranges.
Yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
and we're trying to force toward a more true benchmark. So this would be a new, this is where we start level set moving forward. But to your point, we got to do it in the same.
I also think it would be helpful to just put the date of the assessment on there, just because I was assuming it was apples to apples, and that helps me a lot, because I was going to have a lot of questions, but now that kind of answers it. Right.
Yes, ma'am. To your point, Ms. Ring, and echoing what Dr. Hollingsworth is saying, Dr. Jones is working with an assessment committee for us to solidify when those assessments are, but also when we're having those data meetings across the district as well. K-5 math achievement, beginning of the year average, 2 above average achievement in 2024. 67% of our students met that 40th percentile versus their like peers. And then in 2025, 64%. 5 through 8 MAP science achievement, beginning of the year, average to above average achievement. 2024, 68% met that 4th percentile. And then 2025, 66%. Still looking at achievement and the systematic processes to monitor Tier 1, the progress monitoring piece. 6th through 8th grade MAP reading achievement, beginning of the year, showed above or average to above average achievement. The 2024 is 63% versus 2025. This year is 59%. We're at 40% or above, the 40th percentile or above. And then finally, looking at achievement. For 6-8 MAP math achievement, beginning of the year, show average to above average achievement. 2024 was 66%, met the 40th percentile. And then in 2025, this year was 50%. And this is
Will it always be the 40th percentile going forward?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is set by NWEA, by MAP. Yes, sir. And this is one of the examples that I was talking about of when the assessment, that 6th through 8th grade MAP math achievement. Looking at 24 versus 25, one of the conversations that we had, without being able to say it to an absolute certainty, but it did make us ask questions. How do we go from a 66% achievement to a 50% achievement? Because you don't see that drop anywhere else. And one of the things that we talked about, and as we were investigating, was the assessment was taking the second week of school versus into the school year, mid-September or so, after they had received instruction. Correct. Yes, ma'am. So looking at growth now. 1st through 8th grade math met growth projection beginning of the year, 2024, to 2025. One of the pieces to recognize and acknowledge here is when you're talking about growth, you're talking about the same kid that took that assessment. So for example, first grade Walter, looking at that right column there, first grade Walter, who was, let's say, made 54%, part of that 54% for growth, took that assessment as a kindergartner. Right, took the kindergarten assessment. So when you're looking at growth, the difference in the growth and the achievement, the growth piece is the kid versus themselves. All right, and so it's not just the achievement that is norm reference across the nation, students that are in that same age group. This is the student taking the assessment at about the same time, whether it's beginning of the year, mid-year, or end of year.
And it's really important, it's just something for y'all to begin to think about is achievement and the number of kids passing was what we always think of, kids who are at approaches or meets or masters. Achievement is one way that we are successful in accountability testing. Growth is just as important. It's just as valuable to us. So getting kids to grow one year and that's why we don't just look at achievement of a class or of a school. You also have to also look at whether or not little Jerry and little Paige are growing.
Correct.
So when it says met growth projection, it's not just 54% that grew, it's 54% that grew at the level we expected them to grow.
That's right.
Correct.
Because there may be kids that grew, yet they didn't grow to the projected level. That's right. Correct. That's a really good distinction.
Correct. And so you see the numbers there, and I won't read every single one of those, but I did want to point out and acknowledge the 7th and 8th grade because those numbers were and are considerably low when you're talking about the growth projection. And one of the things, again, upon investigation and looking at it, it goes back to what you heard Dr. Hollingsworth say often and early when he came to EMS. We notice and recognize the variability when you talk about instruction. And so it's one of the reasons that we have the curriculum that we have. We're praying that that is going to, with the instructional walks and the fidelity walks, we're praying that looking at the instruction and the implementation of that instruction, we're not going to see that. All right, let's go to the next one. Looking at our high schools, and so this data, because we do not take the MAP assessment in high school, but we do have DCAs where we look at our instruction. An important piece to point out to you all as you are looking at those numbers for each respective content the cut score is set by what the score is for the STAR assessment. So, for example, when you look at English 1, 77% is meets or is at approaches. That is not at the cut score is not 70%. So little Walter didn't make a 70 to be at approaches. All right, that cut score would be in alignment with the STAR ELC, for example, which would be 44%. Another piece of information to point out to you all, and I'll still use English 1 as the example. When you look at the 76% of approaches, that 52% at meets is inside of that 76%, okay? And then the masters is inside of the meets and the approaches. The reason that we look at it this way is this is the way that the state reports it. They report it as approaches or better. That's how the report comes from the state.
Meets is meets grade level. Approaches is approaching grade level. Okay, and masters is, I'm doing better than grade level. Yeah.
All right. And now I am going to turn it over to Dr. Fahey. Talk to us a little bit about CCMR.
Well, good evening again. I will say in the data that's displayed before you, the One thing to note when it comes to CCMR is that it is the kids that walk across the stage versus a lot of the other STAR data that you hear about. That's your snapshot data. So in the far right column where it says class of 2025, that was the end of year CCMR numbers for the class of 2025. So as we progress through this year and show you CCMR data, you're going to see the class of 2026 progressing to hopefully exceed class of 2025 numbers. So the class of 2026 numbers are current today. We should see it getting closer and surpassing the other class. So right now, the numbers that we had with AP enrollment this year, we did see a 5% increase, which is healthy given that our Eagle Mountain High School is growing. So I would expect to see that enrollment growing with the school itself as well as with the district. When it comes to AP scores earned, I'm going to go ahead and say it, it's not on here, but we had the best pass rate in our history with our AP scores that came back in July at 67%, but that puts us right now with a senior class that 22% of them have had a 3 or higher on an AP exam. This coming July, we will get whatever AP scores they received this year, and that number should go up, but we won't know till July of 26. AP, or the on-ramps enrollment numbers went up 67%. So the good news is, we talked about it, we should see next year those numbers, because I'll tie the Tarleton Today numbers in with it, because it's basically the same program, that's going to jump dramatically.
I was gonna ask, so would that be an apples to apples comparison with it being the Tarleton Today?
Yes.
With those two?
Yes. So we'll look at dual enrollment is 2 different grades. So on-ramps Tarleton Today fall under that. Dual credit is TCC. It's 1 grade, both entities. Easy way to remember that. So then we get into on-ramps completion. Our numbers currently are 12%. So you've seen the programs growing with enrollment, so we expect to see a higher percentage of kids that are getting credit from on-ramps. So that number will again increase by next summer. Then we get dual credit enrollment, which is TCC. That did decrease 40% from the previous year, but you see more kids going to the dual enrollment model. So that's where that change is happening. Dual credit courses align very much with the same pass rate. Then we get into TSI testing. Currently, we are at 24% of our kids that have met standard on the SAT, ACT, or TSIA, or a combination of both. I can pass the math of the SAT and the English of the TSIA, and that counts for being TSI met. Currently 24%. Last year's graduating class is at 26%. Our goal is obviously to beat last year's numbers, and the high schools are working tremendously hard. Chisholm Trail, for example, has already used 2,400 testing units this year, and we're how many weeks in? 12, 13. So that gives you an example of how much they're trying to help the kids pass the TSI. CCMR credit, we are currently at 40%. Note, last year we ended with a senior class at 90%. Where we will see the biggest gain, obviously with our senior class in meeting CCMR, is going to come from the college prep classes that they're in, which is through Texas College Bridge. So currently kids are working through those programs. We ideally will see that big bump from that as they complete it early on next semester. I will put this as a note, following year, right now TEA has approved no college prep course to be used. So that's something we got to think about and consider. That is a problem we're facing. Then we get into CTE courses. Currently, we stand at 12% of our seniors that have an IBC. Last year, we ended the year with 23% of our seniors. Many of those kids right now are currently at HCTC as seniors. We expect them to get their IBCs before the end of this year, and I expect those IBC numbers to be similar, if not a little bit more. But when we get into program of study completer, you notice right now we only have 21 kids that have met completer status. That is to be expected, because we have to realize TEA changing their CTE rules. This year's graduates is the first group that has to have 3 classes for 4 more credits with an earned IBC to be classified as career ready, where last year's graduating class had to only have 2 classes with 2 or more credits and an earned IBC. So the standard is increased. So you're basically majoring in the same pathway of study all 4 years of high school to get to completer status. So we do expect that percentage to go down because the standards are higher. Okay? And then last but not least is the military enlistments. We actually have 2 students now, so that number changed as of today, but it's still holistically 0%, but historically we're typically around 1% of our graduates enrolling in the military. Any questions?
Didn't we have to get some type of military confirmation that they that
Yes, sir.
lag behind our,
So in the previous years, we had to have what's called a DD4 form,
Right.
which is your enlistment paperwork. Now I can either have that or an official document from a recruiter that says the student's enlisted. TEA now goes to the DOD to get those numbers. We
They
just
get
have to have
directly from
documentation
them.
of it.
they run our database directly against that? TEA?
Not our, no, they don't necessarily compare us, just like on-ramps numbers and College Board AP. TEA is technically going to those institutions under a data sharing agreement, and they're pulling those resources in. We're doing our job to track it on our end at the same time. And if there's ever large discrepancies, then we can obviously have discussions with TEA, but thus far, we've been pretty good of stating what we should be at. But it's the kids that walk across the stage that count.
Dr. Fahey, is that 1%, is that pretty normal for going into enlisting?
Let me put it this way, I thought it was low, and then literally we just got invited to do a magazine article for a news reporter last week because he did his research of local school districts, and we seem to be one of the highest. And he wanted to know what we were doing so much different than the other districts and wrote an article about it.
Okay.
That was shocking.
Great.
So that comes out next month, look for it.
We got a whole 18.
There we go. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I am presenting tonight on behalf of Ms. Hardy, who is out of town at a conference. And so I'm going to be talking to you tonight about student engagement. So on screen, you are going to see our current secondary enrollment by department for our extracurricular and co-curricular as of this month. So one key takeaway from the data that you should look at here is the total number of students participating in the extracurricular and co-curricular activity at some point actually exceeds the campus enrollment. And that's because we've got students who are participating in multiple activities and electives, and this is just highlighting our strong engagement across all of our programs. Our current data challenge that we are working with right now is tracking retention from year to year. We are working on identifying the most effective way to automate that through Skyward queries. And so right now we are looking to find the best method to establish those baseline parameters for each department that you see displayed. We are currently also going to add questions to our mid and end of year surveys that our students are going to take so that we can capture engagement in activities that might not be tracked by Skyward. That would be things like participation in clubs, student leadership organizations, or other campus organizations where there's not a class, a co-curricular class associated with that. And this is going to help us identify places where our students are involved in their school community beyond courses where they enroll. If you look here, you can see that we've got strong participation in athletics. CTE, of course, is only increasing, which is exciting, as well as fine arts. We do have a lower enrollment for JROTC right now, but that's also a program that we're working to strengthen. Any questions?
We don't really have a comparison there. When you say we have higher enrollment, that's compared to these are this year's numbers, and you're saying they're higher than last year's numbers?
Well, we're working on looking at retention data. That's the problem that we have right now, where we can have a query where we can go in and run a report, and it will show what's going on from year to year with the same kiddo within that program. Right now, there's not anything that allows us to run that. So if we do it, we literally would do that by hand for about 12,000 students.
Just so I'm clear, Ms. Alloway, so like middle school where we got 5,554 students and that's 100% of enrollment, that may be that little Steve
plays 3 sports.
Football, basketball, and track. He shows up 3 times, and so he's showing up as 3 students. So it's kind of like in advanced academics, we'd say 3 seats.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
It's the same way in CTE where you see 119. We've got students taking multiple CTE courses. So they may be over at HCTC and then taking a course or 2 on the home campus as well.
We can count it both ways though, right?
We can.
It would be interesting to see if,
Individuals.
That's some of the work that we're doing right now. Carla has been working with Mr. Lee and Ms. Newman to work on seeing what we can get Skyward to do. Right now, those don't exist, and Skyward is actually working with us to make those because we're one of the first districts to ask for that
Athletics
information.
provided us and Fine Arts with the participation report of all the kids that were in the programs that I've kept. I've got about 20 years. If you want to see
Of course.
it. That, shows you how many were in. You could track if they had more in football. So I don't know where he got his information, if he just asked the coaches.
How many of them?
You wouldn't know if it.
Wouldn't know for sure. It
We're
could
trying
be
to attach
50
it to their
different
name.
in Basketball and 50 different in, but it's probably not, but a lot of them are overlap, but you'd have to actually
know how
know.
much the program's growing.
Yeah.
The program.
Yes.
Yeah, total number.
Yeah, we can track that. We just can't track retention right now by specific kids. So if I'm trying to make sure Ashley plays basketball every year, all 4 years, I can't track that right now. But I can track that there are 72 kids in the program and if that's going up or down. Yes, sir.
So this may be information overload, but just because I'm fascinated by this particular subject, would we ever see the breakdown numbers, like a particular program at a particular school, what their numbers are? The band program at Wayside versus the band program at Prairie Vista and the.
We have that.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Okay.
I mean, maybe.
We get that report.
Yeah.
I think what we get is kind of something like this, that, we got 51% of the enrollment in school because in fine arts there are 1,000 kids. But for me to track retention, I want to see in a particular program, band program, how many sixth graders they had, and then how many seventh graders in the same program, and then how many eighth graders they had in the same program, so I can see if they're retaining those students. Same thing with choir and art and theater. I would just like to see, and then the transition, even more important, the transition from the middle schools to the high schools. Are we, if it's a 50% drop, then I'd like to see more collaboration between our high school fine arts teachers and our middle school fine arts teachers to find out where that other 50% went. Maybe there's a good reason. Maybe they took something else.
CTE and they couldn't.
And I have found that a lot of times that is the answer, but there is at least that many kids that just like, I didn't know you wanted me, and I don't want to lose those kids.
Right, and we're excited that the 8-period day is going to let us have to make fewer decisions between programs too.
Yeah, they get to participate in fine arts and athletics.
Well, it's just critical that we monitor this. I mean, I'm making my notes and stuff, and I like student engagement. I just wrote equals success, because mentorship, better behavior results. Like engagement, I don't know, you guys know I'm preaching the choir, but I mean, through these things, it's how we, make them care.
Yes,
Make
sir.
them want to be there, because all the things that we just looked at with test scores and all that, they don't care. They don't care unless they care, unless they're engaged. So that's why like you said, the retention, the keeping them in a program, and if they got out of this program, they're getting in another one. And why? Because, y'all know, you're educators, but I love seeing that, because it's engaged. If they're engaged, they're going to be okay. If they're not, they have a chance.
Yes, sir.
Do we have something against these results that gives us an idea of how good we should feel about it? Like we talked about the total number of walkthroughs, that sounds great to me, but if we're trying to do twice that many, then it's not so good, right? So do you have something that you're going to share with us in future updates that'll give us an idea of how good we should feel about?
Clearly,
it's an absolute metric, but relative to what we were expecting to have happen.
Clearly, first rattle out of the box, we're giving y'all some baseline data. We're starting to kind of build a case for, and over time, based upon your feedback and based upon what these guys are already digging into, it'll change. But we're first rattle out of the box, hey, here's where we are at a baseline.
An important addition to, an important addition to that, what we are sharing with you tonight are lead measures. If you all remember when we shared with you the balanced scorecard, we talked about the lag measures, which is what you all approved, right? Which is the end of the year, the autopsy, if you will. What we're talking about now is going into the shop, looking under the hood and see how we're doing right now.
Blood
Right?
pressure.
So part of that, I think, to answer your question, I think part of that will be us doing a better job of maybe putting that against the lag measure and kind of see where we're going. So that's a piece that we can absolutely add as well. Okay. Mr. Hart, you want to give us a quick update?
So in regards to 1.4, as you can see, I don't have the data that the other two had on here. We're working or have been working hard to really develop the plan of how we're going to collect that data. We had to make some changes to what we initially thought we were going to do, but we've put that in place now. And so you can see under the results that in November, we plan on gathering the data from all our students, K through 12, and then being able to bring that, once we have that data, bring that back before the board.
Just an additional plug to that. From this last legislative update, you might have heard something about parent rights, maybe once or twice at some point between now and then. Part of that is for parents to be able to give consent for their children to take surveys, right? Where we used to be able to just give little Walter or a class a survey, you can't do that anymore. And so part of that, what a piece that he would have shared is we have to re-examine how we're gathering that information, because to be able to go to 24,000 parents and ask them to opt in, it used to be that I could just opt out and then I would still have a lot of data to be able to draw from. Well, now parents opt in. And so that's the piece that we're also wrestling with as well. All right. And then Dr. Waters.
Good evening. I'm just pleased to be bringing y'all some positive news tonight.
Oh, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great. It's good to see you again. Thank you for asking. As you look at the attendance numbers that are in front of you, I want to make sure that you know that our principals are really stressing attendance. They're emphasizing, maybe stressing is not the right word. They're emphasizing attendance this year. Attendance improvement plans are something that all the campuses have, and it's something that I think we're able to see some real dividends from. Every week, as you see in the first 8 weeks of school, every week this year compared to the attendance rates for last year is improved.
That's awesome.
All 8 out of 8. And without reading all the numbers to you, if you kind of just glance up and down on the 2024 column, you'll see it's mostly 94s. And if you glance up and down on the 2025 column, it's mostly 95s. And so, and I think to me, what I see as, because I did the math out to the side how much difference there was each week. Weeks 5 through 8, the differences, the improvement is higher than all of weeks 1 through 4. So as the year is progressing, the growth has improved. And I think that's a direct result of that number you see at the bottom there with our administrators having made almost 2,800 personal attendance touch points. And they are reaching out and having personal conversations with parents via phone and house visits and face-to-face. And so it's
awesome.
It's making a difference.
That's awesome. Questions or comments? I just want to thank you and all the principals and the attendance clerks and the teachers and the counselors. I mean, all the staff, they hear and they think we all saw how much difference those percentage points make. And so it's huge for our district. Because if kids, as we said, if they're not in the seats, they can't learn anything. And then it also helps us financially. So it's great.
Communications, I'll say this too, like as a parent, my kids aren't there, the parent square pops up, email, I get a parent square message of this, I get an email, I get a text.
Consistent.
Then you ask your kid where he was.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, everybody doing something makes a difference.
It's as I finish up here, it is absolutely a system. I would just ask, if you see a principal, please make sure that you pat them on the back and say thank you. When you look at that 2773 touch point, that is a two-way transmission. That's not just an email or an attempted call. I made contact with someone. So if you see an administrator, tell them thank you and how much we appreciate their hard work. Looking at priority 4, specifically 4.2, Implement and monitor recommendations of the FIT committee related to resource allocation. So, of course, we're doing the work of attendance and truancy. Also, we've solicited some help from campus administrators and looking at online learning options. Also, we've made the determination that we'll start high school earlier and also add an additional period of instruction for our students to have different opportunities and be able to provide possible intervention if necessary. And we're still looking at and mapping that out. Next one there is transportation changes. As we're looking at being able to accomplish that bell schedule change for the high schools, one of the elements that came from the FIT committee is looking at how we're doing transportation specifically and being able to provide different options for our kids. So my suspicion is we'll be having more conversations about transportation and then how we do transportation specifically, being able to get our kids to and from school. Questions?
Any other questions or comments? I think we kind of asked as we went along.
What are you targeting as the start time for the high schools?
I think right now the projection is 8:40, 8:41.
And would that impact the same direction the time that high schools let out?
Correct. Yes, sir. I think 4:09.
It sort of made sense in my brain, but I
Yes,
wasn't sure.
Yeah,
We could just keep them longer.
It's not as clean as it is right now, which is the o'clock or 50 or 30 or 25. It's like 7:03.
We've done that.
I was going to say, some of us went to school and the times were kind of strange like that. So, yes, sir. Other questions?
Thank you for all your hard work. This is exciting to watch. I'll be anxious to see month by month how we're progressing. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, our final report of the evening, I believe, yes. Ms. Tucker for the new library materials acquisition process.
Good evening, Dr. Hollingsworth, Dr. Tolbert, friends on the board. Thank you for letting me be here tonight to talk with you about new acquisition policy for new library books. And I specifically said new twice in there, just for fun. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about Senate Bill 13, and there's three main elements Dr. Behringer just mentioned. You've probably heard something about parental rights, and so this is going to be a big part of Senate Bill 13. Also, increasing transparency in school library material selection. So this has been a hot topic for a little while, and so Senate Bill 13 gives us some tools that we can use. And finally, I do want to make sure you understand we've had clear standards, but Senate Bill 13 just solidifies those clear standards for library materials in Texas public schools. So before I jump right in, just a few things that I think will be helpful as we go through this. This new approval process that I'm going to walk you through applies to new library materials. So anything that was in our library catalog prior to this is not subject to this. Don't worry, we've still used the same standards and everything like that, but you don't have to actually approve those purchases. This does apply to all school libraries, all classroom libraries, and I will spend a little more time on that, and all digital collections. It does define library materials as any book, record, file, or document in a school district's library catalog. Most of us are like, well, yeah, we understand that. But there are some school districts that that catalog their instructional materials, their textbooks and things like that in the library catalog. It doesn't apply to them. We don't do that, so that's not really a big thing, but I just wanted to point out why it's defined. So talking about parental rights. So I'm happy to tell you everything on this page we have been doing all along. We've been providing these rights. Parents have always had access to the library catalog in Destiny. In fact, anyone can go on any of our school websites and see the catalog for each school. Parents have always been able to restrict their own child's access to specific titles. It's just that with this new law, that's a requirement, And because of that, Destiny, that's our library system, Follett is the company that provides that. They provided a tool for us that makes it easier for us. In the past, if Steve didn't want his child to read a book, he talked to the librarian. She put a note in the file. When we checked out books, we checked the note. Now the system actually doesn't allow us to check out that material to a student if the parent has requested that. So that's a positive thing. Parents can view records of their child's library checkouts. This has been something they could have asked for in the past, so we've got that. Now it's easier for them to do. And all of the information for anything I just talked about when it comes to parents being able to get in and see what their children are checking out, restricting title access, that's all available with some guides and some information sheets that are available on our website at emsisd.com/library collection. So I've just a little screenshot there. There's a link that says click here for step-by-step instructions. Any questions about that?
So if mom and dad are divorced and mom doesn't want her to read it and dad does, then what?
You know, that's a great question. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, usually there is some type of documentation from the court, and it tells us who has the right to be able to make that determination.
And so whoever we have the permission from or whoever to give access to, that parent is going to be the custodial parent or the parent that gets to make that decision. And so far, I can tell you, we've had parents ask about this. We've not had a situation where we've had to. Thank you for that.
We've had a question. Okay.
Yeah.
You will.
Okay. The next part is the selection of titles. So this is a really, really important part of the librarian's job. They go to school to do this. They've earned a certification. They've got a master's degree in this. And so it is important that we remember that we have fully certified librarians that follow a board-approved selection policy. One of the pieces in that is they always welcome recommendations from really any stakeholders, from our students, from parents, from staff members, from board members, from community members. Doesn't mean you're automatically going to get what you request, but they are going to consider any recommendation that comes from a stakeholder. So there's specific wording in Senate Bill 13, and I'm going to read it. This has been part of our policy all along, but the selection policy does prohibit any harmful, obscene, indecent, profane, pervasively vulgar, or educationally unsuitable material. So as long as we've had libraries, that's what our certified librarians have been doing. They've been checking the material for this sort of thing because we want what's absolutely the best thing for the kids, and they take their work very, very seriously. It also, when we are purchasing books, we're looking for things that align with our curriculum, that align with the student interest. That comes in a lot with those student recommendations and is developmentally appropriate. We're talking age ranges. And I'm really excited to tell you that 5 years ago, when things started getting heated about book selection, we proactively set up a team of librarian cadres, and I've got more information on this screen. So this is a group of 3 to 4, again, certified librarians. I'm going to say that word a lot. So certified, thank you for hiring fully certified librarians. These are groups of librarians that come together and work together on their orders. So our cadres are made up sometimes because of like campuses. So the first group you see there is Gilliland, Remington Point, Willow Creek. Those are our bilingual campuses. So they order similar materials. Some of our groups of cadres, and they change every year depending on our librarians, some of them are made up with librarians that are new to the profession and some that have more experience, so there's a good mix. So if I'm on a cadre with 2 other librarians, I build my list and then I share it with the 2 other certified librarians, and they review title by title. If there's any question or they just have a thought about it, they pick up the phone. Hey, did you read such and such about this book? Because we read everything we can about the books before we get them, but we don't usually have the books in hand before we have the books in hand. So they use all of their tools and they talk about it. It's been a really great process. It's been an opportunity for some of these groups to get together and build orders together using that information. If there's ever a time that there's a question about it, they can reach out to the lead librarians, to April Dunning or myself. Even though I'm not a librarian, I can help a little bit. But they're the experts that do that. So we're excited to have that process in place, and it's been going strong for 5 years. Here's something that's new. So far I've been telling you a lot of things we've been doing for a long time, but we now are required to have a public posting of any library materials that we want to purchase, starting with this year. So we already have on our website, again, it's emsisd.com/library collection, 2 links. One is a link for the books that we're going to ask you to approve next month at the November board meeting. And the next link is the one we're going to ask you to approve in December. I'm going to show you a timeline why we're working so far ahead. But this is a requirement. We have a 30-day review window that has to be out to the public. So we've got those links there. There is a link right there, just right below that says, here's the feedback form. If you have any questions or any concerns or any thoughts about any of the books on any of these proposed purchase lists, that form comes right to me and we address it. So this has been up for a while now. And I want to show you that you don't have to squint and look at the chart really closely, but I want to show you kind of our timeline. We started with board meeting dates because now part of Senate Bill 13 is having the board approve the purchases in an open board meeting. So we started with that date. We backed it up by about 10 dates, so 10 days, calendar days, so that we could get it on the agenda for the board meeting. And then we backed up another 30 days because you have to have a 30-day public review period before it gets on the board agenda. And then we even added cadre approval and when to submit your list to the cadre. So what you see here is a whole lot of dates, but really because of this year, because we started a little bit later in the year having to get all our ducks in a row, and because of the proposed change to our budget year, we have 5 opportunities this year, 5 months that we're going to be able to purchase books for the library, which is plenty, that's fine. But so this is what the librarians are working with right now, knowing I'm submitting this to hopefully be approved in December, and then the day after the board meeting, we hit submit and it goes through the purchasing process. So Senate bill does require this be approved in a public meeting. The proposed lists go out that 30-day review, and what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you, is we're not going to wait to send you those lists for the 10 days before the board meeting. When they post for the 30-day review period, I'll send that out through a weekly board report just so you have it. It's a lot of books. If you have any questions, let me know.
How are we going to be able to access, if we wanted to read them, what do we do?
Well, this is the hard part about being a librarian. So you have all these options to review. We have a program called Tidal Wave that's built into Follett, and in that we can see the suggested audience age ranges. We can see any tags. Let's say this is an adventure book or this is a scary book or something like that. We can see reviews. All of that information is on the spreadsheet of the proposed lists for purchase, so you can kind of scan across and see that. One of the challenges is we don't see the books until we buy them. So you do everything you can and you look for professional reviews. I know some districts and some librarians will go to Amazon or to Goodreads or things like that, but those are crowdsourced reviews, and people can be paid to do good reviews. So we look for legitimate, like School Library Journal, Horn Book, some of those professional organizations that are reviewed. And we do our very best. If there's a question at all, when we get it, it doesn't go on the shelf right away. So if there's, we've had situations where we get a book and you look at you flip through and you're like, I don't know, there's something, I happen to read this page and I'm not sure. I'm going to keep this and I'm going to read this. So part of the trouble is we don't have the books in front of us until we have them in front of us. Now our vendors know this, and there are opportunities to send those back and get other books if there's ever a reason that we don't, we're not happy with the selection.
But they're asking us to vote and approve a list of books, so.
They are.
And so if you get comments from parents or the public, are you going to share those with us so we know?
I will be happy to, yes. Yes, we'll make sure that we do that. I'll share any concerns with you.
Right.
Yeah, you're being asked to approve a purchase of things you don't have in front of you. We're going to give you everything we have, but know that we have a team of certified librarians that have looked over it, and they want nothing more than to provide the best materials for our students.
And I'll just add, I mean, y'all have done a tremendous job. We are so fortunate to be in a district that already has such forward-thinking processes in place. The cadres, that's genius, you know, that we were doing that here 5 years ago. So it really sets us up well. It's going to be a new process, Mr. Newcomb, and so we're really going to have to kind of work on it together. I think, you know, really any title you can look at, you can plug into the Google machine, and you can find all kinds of biases either direction. As to if there's one that you see by title, that's the first place I'd direct you. Is just plug it in, see what you see read about it, and then we can certainly help you guys in getting a more vetted review of a particular book if you have concerns
How
about
many
it.
books will be on this list?
Yeah, I was going to ask that too.
Thousands.
Thousands.
So
Wow.
it'll be interesting. You can add this to your collection at home.
Kind of a joke, honestly. Thank you. I mean, yeah. The legislature hasn't read
And
any
if
of
you
them
would
either,
like
by
me
the way,
to,
but-
I'm happy to share a resource with you that's super easy to use. It's the one that most of the librarians use. Anyone can use it. I can share that information with you. I don't anticipate any of you are going to really want to go title by title and
With thousands?
Google with thousands and thousands.
I want to say not only kudos to Cindy and to our librarians for the tremendous work that they've done. I have to also pause here and just say that a pretty late legislative requirement that came to the surface caused our classroom teachers to spend untold hours scouring through their personal classroom libraries, where they have, teachers have been teaching for a long time, have hundreds, in some cases thousands of books. And there are some sad scenes that played out where they had to pack those books home and take them home because the standard that we're using is if they're not in our overall library system, then you cannot have them in your classroom. And so I want to point that out, you know, in our local control. Anyway,
It's really terrible. By teachers who had built up these libraries. that didn't have
Yes,
books
it
anymore.
A lot of
hurt.
money and time.
It
doing
just
it.
really hurt us, but I will tell you, so it's,
Got one in my eye.
they have to follow the same rules that the campus libraries do. So
Replace.
right now, the recommendation is if it's not in our catalog, you can't have it in your room. If I should say this, if it's not in our library catalog or it's not part of a previous ELAR adoption, so those books. So right now we have the lists of the ELAR adoptions that we have that's posted on our webpage. Then we did a special catalog for our counselors. So our counselors use books with students that aren't necessarily found in our libraries. They're wonderful and there's absolutely nothing wrong with them, but the law says we have to publish those catalog. It has to be a published, searchable catalog. So we have a spreadsheet, which is searchable, which is allowable with the law. We have that posted on the counseling webpage. Our next steps are to figure out some ways. I mean, there are some ways, but it's going to be a whole lot of work for teachers. But our next steps are find ways that they can create and publish their own catalogs. It does specifically say it has to be on the district website, so we're looking at options. And then publishing catalogs for some of our other non-core classrooms. Specifically, our PACE teachers, they have entire sets of books for their units of study that are not necessarily in our library. Our foreign language classrooms that have a whole collection of books. So it's a struggle, but we're here for it.
Can the teachers submit a book if they've had a book in their classroom for this not happens to be in our library?
Absolutely. So the teachers can submit that. The librarian has to think a lot about, is this going to appeal to the whole group? Is this going to, does it meet our standards, which I'm sure it will, but is this the best use of $41 to go to a book that might only appeal to a few kids that speak German or something like that? So there's a lot that goes into it.
There's no way to add a book though, like that might be donated or something to the list that's not one we buy?
Well, it specifically talks about donations. Donations have to go through this same process. But yes, we could.
That's how you can do the teachers, right?
We could add that, and that's what the teachers would end up having to do, because it also has to state where the book is. So we can't really just say, oh, this book, I love this book, I'm going to put this up in the catalog. It has to be noted somewhere that it's in Miss Tucker's third grade class. So.
Thank
I'd
you
like to
so much.
request-
Well,
Ms. Sanders.
thank you.
Yeah,
I'd like to request that list in an audio form.
I'll ask Copilot
Okay,
to
thank you.
read it out loud to you.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Because I have one, but I'll
Well, it's
yield
just
to
a
everyone else.
ridiculous state requirement that's been added
Yes.
to us, and if
Yes,
they'd worry less about bathrooms and books, we'd be a lot better
yes,
off.
I agree. That's pretty much what I was going to
Quote
say.
of the
But,
night. I like that.
but besides that, I wanted to say thank you,
Sure.
Cindy and everybody. And I will say, when I was doing my leadership TASB project, we picked banning books. And they said, oh, that's going to be that's not going to last very long. We're like, yeah, and it's 7 years later, it's still going on. But I met with Cindy to see what our procedures were. And we were we were the maverick. We were way above what everybody else was doing even then, right? And then I want to say again to what you said about teachers, I am so sorry. Speaking as a teacher, it breaks my heart for you to have to take your libraries that you have spent your hard-earned money, bought from Scholastic, bought from wherever, gone to Barnes and had to take those home and not have them in the hands of kids. And it is disgusting. And this is not a board thing. This is me personally. It is disgusting and terrible that the legislature has done this. It's horrible. That's all I'm going to say.
That's all. Right.
Good job.
All right.
But good job. Thank you. Okay, that concludes our reports. Goodness gracious. Okay, so we'll go right into action items, and our first one is a public hearing. So at this time at 9:10 p.m., on behalf of the Eagle Mountain Saginaw Independent School District, I declare an open meeting to discuss the comprehensive campus targeted improvement plans, Northbrook Elementary School, Saginaw Elementary School, Parkview Elementary School, and High Country Elementary School. And Mrs. Beth Sanders is going to present that to us.
Good evening, Dr. Tolbert, Dr. Hollingsworth, and board members. I am going to summarize the presentation that I made in the September board meeting for you related to our targeted improvement plans. So we had all of our targeted improvement plans, which were attached to this evening's agenda item for you, posted on the website as well so that the community could view those for the purposes of having access prior to the public hearing. Each of the plans details the actions that we are taking to move our campuses out of the bottom 5% of campuses. Those 4 campuses, that is how they receive that designation. They fell in the bottom 5% across the state. And we would like to see them improve to a C or higher in the next 2 years. So that's the goal with the plan. 2 of our campuses are actually in year 2, so that's what we want to see for them by the end of this year. And one of our campuses has already reached a C, and we'd like to see that C increase or maybe even a B by the end of this year. That'd be great. Our strategy is implementation of rigorous, high-quality instructional materials, including Bluebonnet Math and Amplify Texas RLA. Our action steps to support that include principal and teacher coaching, observation and feedback cycles, supported internalization, professional learning communities focused on individual, classroom, grade level, and district performance monitoring. We have received 2 LASSO grants related to the support of these campuses, and those are the Instructional Leadership Grant and the Strong Foundations Implementation Grant. And we have partnered with Region 11, Engage to Learn, and Great Minds to implement these plans.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from anyone? At this time, are there any requests from the audience to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, at this time at 9:12 p.m., the public meeting is closed. Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. And you are still up now because we have consideration to approve these plans.
I move that,
After all the public input, go ahead, make the,
okay. I move that we approve the comprehensive campus targeted improvement plans, Northbrook Elementary School, Saginaw Elementary School, Parkview Elementary School, and High Country Elementary School.
second.
Motion by Ron, second by Steve. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Any opposed, like sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much. All right, now we have Mr. Kittinger again to act on the budget amendment that he presented earlier in the evening.
I move that we approve the budget amendment for October 2025.
Motion by Ron, second by Paige. Any discussion or
I have one
comments?
question. So the special ed funding zeroed out, so the additional increases that we talked about earlier that were rollover, were those, I still don't understand why they're there. Tell me why they're there.
For the rollover purchase orders?
Yeah.
So what we try to do is not penalize our campuses and, and departments for things that they ordered last year that didn't come in on time. They were expecting to use last year's funds for those. And
Got
so
it.
since they didn't come in until this year, we can't accrue them back because they all got received in this year.
So we're all using them this year.
Yes, sir.
We're using them this year. Whether
Examples would be like some of the laptops that we bought for the CTE group.
Whether they want them or not, they're using them this year. Right? Okay.
Just to clarify, so that money was not used in last year's budget, rolls into fund balance. This pulls the money basically back out of fund balance.
Okay.
And uses it in this year.
All right. That's all the questions. Thank you.
Okay, so again, motion by Ron, second by Paige. All in favor? Any opposed? Sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. All right, now we have Mr. Welch to consider recommendation to adopt the issuance of bonds. So,
If we have any
Move to
questions.
adopt the
after-
order authorizing the issue and sale of Eagle Mountain Saginaw Independent School District Unlimited Tax Refunding Bonds Series 2025-A, establishing parameters for the sale and issuance of such bonds, and delegating certain matters to authorized officials of the district.
Second.
motion by Steve, second by Paige. Any questions or comments? All in favor? No, anybody opposed? All right, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Welch. All right, Mr. Lee, procurement for Watson High School.
President Tolbert, members of the board, Dr. Hollingsworth. Texas Government Code specifies that a governing body of a governmental entity that considers a construction contract using a method authorized by this chapter other than competitive bidding must advertise and determine which method provides the best value for the government entity. The recommendation is to designate competitive seal proposal, CSP, as the method that provides the best value for Watson High School building additions and renovations.
So moved.
Second.
Is that Blake? Okay, motion by Ron, second by Blake. Any other questions or comments?
And why is it CSP this time instead of working with the construction manager at risk?
It's a smaller project, and we're not bound by certain schedule issues, right? In the past, when we've done construction manager at risk, it's primarily due to the ability to start construction before we have a fully design set of drawings. So Wayside, for example, we had the ability to start demoing buildings. We had the ability to start grading portions of the site. So that allowed us to start construction and kick off that progress before having a full set of plans or permits. So then we could hit, as soon as we finished the grading, we got our permit and we were able to hit construction in stride. So there are many advantages to the CMAR method, allowing a contractor to get awarded ahead of time, to get into the room during design, during the ability to schedule a project. For something like this, where we're adding 4 classrooms and expanding a portion of the cafeteria, it's pretty cut and dry. We're already done with the plans, and so I think it makes sense to do a competitive seal proposal for this project.
The old way.
That's right.
Well, they all used to be done.
The old school way. And the market's changed, right? I mean, you'll see most major construction projects for districts go to the CMAR method. It has changed, but to to your point, you
And
are
you get
right.
a better bid, I think, too, because there's not as many variables, right? Here it is, black and white.
Not as much innovation is going to go into this either. It's 4 rooms and floor.
Correct.
I mean, there's not a lot of
No, sir.
contractor collaboration.
Right, 100%. There's not much value in doing it as a CMAR.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, so again, motion by Ron, second by Blake. All in favor? Anybody opposed, like sign, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Welch, to consider a proposal for agreement with a law firm Bacon, Moore, and Doggett, Ma, and Dobbs.
Mr. Cleatwell.
Yes. So this is a proposal for a agreement with the law firm to engage in the acquisition of property. The recommendation is to approve the proposal for engagement and submitted by the law firm of Baker, Moran, Doggett, M.A., and Dobbs, LLP, Baker, Moran, and that we hire the firm to represent Eagle Mountain Saginaw ISD in the acquisition of 109 Opal Street, L.H. Thomas Subdivision, Block 2, Lot 3, 113 Opal Street, L.H. Thompson Subdivision, Block 2, Lot 4, 117 Opal Street, L.H. Thompson Subdivision, Block 2, Lot 5, 121 Opal Street, L.H. Thompson Subdivision, Block 2, Lot 6, and 125 Opal, L.H. Thompson Subdivision, Block 2, Lot 7, Saginaw, Texas, Tarrant County.
So moved.
Second.
By Steve, second by Craig. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Any opposed, like sign, motion carries 7-0. You're still up, Mr. Welch.
Okay. Action item G. This is a resolution authorizing the use of eminent domain if necessary. The recommendation is to approve a resolution authorizing negotiations and the use of eminent domain if necessary in the acquisition of 109 Opal Street, L.H. Thompson Subdivision, Block 2, Lot 3, 113 Opal Street, L.H. Thompson Subdivision, Block 2, Lot 4, 117 Opal Street, L.H. Thompson Subdivision, Block 2, Lot 5, 121 Opal Street, L.H. Thompson Subdivision, Block 2, Lot 6, and 125 Opal Street, L.H. Thompson Subdivision, Block 2, Lot 7, Saginaw, Texas, Tarrant County.
So moved.
Second.
Who has a William? And Ron. Okay. Motion by William, wasn't sure at first. Motion by William, second by Ron. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much. That concludes our action items. You have some routine monthly reports or any questions about any of those? Okay. Review board calendar, Dr. Hollingsworth.
Yes, ma'am, Dr. Tolbert and board members, just peering ahead at our November board meeting, we will have our quarterly demographic housing analysis for the third quarter of 2025. You'll hear yet again a monthly balanced scorecard update, and we will bring to you for your, give you an update on the district and campus improvement plans. You'll find that our DIP and our SIPs are highly reflective of the balanced scorecard, just adding in some of the compliance requirements that are required by the law. So we'll bring those to you, and then we will also have an item potentially considering the approval of middle school zoning changes as well, as we discussed earlier tonight.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there's a consent agenda for approval. The minutes page on, I would like those approved with the, you have with the correction from page 270. It was a motion carried by a 5-0 vote, but the minutes said failed by. So thank you, Mr. Blake, for catching that and correcting that. And that is at your place. So do we have a motion to approve?
We approve the consent agenda as presented.
As corrected.
That's correct.
Okay, motion by Blake, second by Steve. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? 7-0. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay, we're almost done. Thank you for your patience. I just have a couple of things because Dr. Hollingsworth has a lot of things that he wants to go over. But a couple of things I want to say is to our athletic students and some others that wrote us all notes. I think you all got a note at your desk thanking us for our participation. It was really great. Those are always the things that make us happy, right? So thank you for those. Also, Halloween is on Friday, so if you like to trick or treat or do something fun, be sure and put it on Facebook so we can all see it. And
Got
then,
games on Friday.
and yeah.
Kids doing great things.
Yes, we do. Football games, and you could even dress up, I guess, if you wanted. Daylight savings time is Sunday, so don't forget to set your clock, because otherwise you'll be at school really early. And if you, I would really hope that you will exercise your right to vote on Election Day, the 4th of November, or early voting through, I think, Thursday, or maybe Friday. So through Friday. So that's all I have. And there's, yes, and the Women of Influence, the Education Foundation puts on, it's a really great event, great place for you to come and honor our women of influence, and also spend money at the auction. And that is on December 6th. Okay? Ms.
All right.
Dr. Hollingsworth.
Thank you. As I do each month, these are some remarks related to leadership and learning in the district. We've had a lot of conversation about attendance and enrollment. We ended September with 24,300 young people with an average daily attendance of 22,641, and that gave us an attendance percentage of 95.68. Our latest attendance increase, we are 0.6% higher overall this year than we were last year. And so that's a really, there it is right there. That's a really good place for us to be. What you see there on the right is one of our many attendance matters graphics. And so really thankful to Chris Hill and to Matthew LeBlanc and our team in communications, because they're doing a lot of really good work to really emphasize the importance of kids being at school. Every elementary school has increased its attendance for the first 6 weeks over 24-25. Highest growth campus was 1.1% increase, and the next highest was 1.02, and that's over the course of the year thus far. So really proud of that work. Those don't sound like big increases, but when you're talking about 24,300 people, that's a lot of kids coming to school. Really grateful to have our FIT committee come back together. And as y'all know, we did invite a couple of our board members, so Mr. Bose and Dr. Tolbert participated on that. The purpose is to provide informed input to the district budget priorities, offer suggestions for budget reductions, and suggest new ways that we might be able to increase our revenue streams. We want to prioritize remaining financially strong and competitive with compensation and make our class sizes reasonable. The charge to our FIT committee is to be educated, educate others, and provide that informed input. One comment, we'll come back together in November. November 12th is going to be our next meeting of FIT. They've gotten feedback out in the community and on their campuses, and they'll bring that back to us. Really proud of our Education Foundation and just the work that they do perennially. I got to participate in my first golf tournament, and so proud to have great participation. I believe we had 20 teams of 4 participate, and we earned in excess of $150,000 for the Education Foundation. So really, really exceptional results. I continue my fall campus rounds, and you can see there I've hit several campuses. And this is really a great opportunity to interface with our staff directly in a small group setting. And then every time we do that, we always seek input and feedback from our staff members. We'll take all that feedback that we get in the fall, and then we'll synopsize that, and then we'll give back to our staff some things that we're doing as a result of things that we're hearing. So that's really a part of that continuous improvement process. Upcoming events, we have our Elementary Advanced Academic Night at Hollenstein on at 6:30 on November the 10th. We have our Ceremony of Remembrance on November 11th. That will take place at Boswell High School at the Marty Medellin Plaza. That starts at 5 o'clock. We have our regular board meeting. It'll sneak up on us pretty quickly because November's is earlier. It's November 17th. And then we have Turkey Day break on November 24th through the 28th. The holiday open house, we're very much looking forward to that. That'll be my second one. I'm starting to do things twice now. So the holiday open house will take place here at the Dr. Jim F. Chadwell Administration Building from 10 to 2 this year. So tell your friends. And I'm told it's going to be a charcuterie style affair. We just used to do snackies back in Boyd, but now it's charcuterie style. And then early release day on December 19th. Winter break is going to be the 22nd through January 2nd. And then we have a student holiday and PD day on January the 5th. So lots of good things in our near future as the holidays heat up.
Awesome. So it is currently 9:28 p.m. on October 27, 2025. We did not finish our closed meeting, so we will once again recess and reconvene in a closed.
Real quick before we leave, I just have to say this. I know it's late. I'll be brief, but I had a great experience this week. Kids doing great things. Don't forget, especially if you're over here and you're close, and you that our Hollenstein kids can and are willing to work on your vehicles. Went and got my oil changed this week. Did a great job, Mr. Cruz and his students.
That's awesome.
Got that done. Open, if you're watching, open to the community. That is something that we do, that and the salon over there as well. And I got to walk around and see kids working on drones and robots and things like that. And
Go to the salon?
I didn't.
I did.
You did? Yeah. One of the templates right here. But yeah, I just, it was great. And it's great to talk to Ms. Traylor about you, just like 4 different areas of study working together. I know Ms. Holloway said you were there for that. And I think there's a video coming that we may need to show at some point with our crime scene investigation and all. She said, really, really cool deal where, Ms. Traylor said it was kind of a moment where you had 100% of the kids in the room engaged. And again, big word, engaged. That's what I talked about earlier. And so I just thought that was cool. Again, getting car fixed and all that kind of stuff that we need to do that we offer to our community. And I love our kids working on stuff. You may not get in and out quite as quick as quick car, but, I thought it was great and wanted to mention it. And
So
applaud them.
as our guests, as y'all depart, and that includes staff, thank y'all for sticking around. Just if you're wondering if y'all need to stick around, the answer is no. But as y'all are leaving, please be sure and check out our student artwork out here in the foyer. Our kids are incredible, and that's yet another example of the work they do. So.
Okay, so again, at 9:30, the board will recess and reconvene in a closed meeting pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meeting Act, Section 551.071 for the purpose of private consultation with the board's attorney, Section 551.072 for the purpose of deliberating a purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, Section 551.074 for the purpose of deliberating the appointment or employment or reassignment duties or dismissal of a public employee or officer, 551.076 for the purpose of deliberation regarding the deployment or specific occasions for implementation of security personnel or security audits. Section 551.082 to deliberate a case involving the discipline of a public school child or complaint. And Section 551.0821 to discuss specific personal identifying information about a student. Everybody have a